Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're doing well today, Adam.
I am. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
You sounded so like corporate in that response. Like, yeah, thank you for asking me this.
This is going to be a great day for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We are all
Anyway,
going to have great
mhm,
fun.
right, right.
Isn't this
So,
kind of like our Monday, right? Is that a good
hmm
Monday response?
it is. It is a good
It's Monday.
hmm
I got we Tuesdays. Like God, what kind of life do we lead? Like, Monday begins on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm great. I'm awesome. Sitch, thank you for asking. I'm ready to go out there and kill it.
There you go. There you go. Anyway, I changed the title around. I didn't like the title of the stream, Adam.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Okay.
okay.
Okay. So,
Oh,
first off,
but
let's talk.
are we gonna find out about the crypto? Because look,
We'll talk about the crypto. I thought it
I
was fun.
like to invest.
I
Okay,
just sent you that crypto thing because I thought it was funny. So we'll talk about that later.
look,
But
I'm thinking I think I might, take a second mortgage out and buy some of this Trump crypto.
right, right, right. So no. So first, I guess we should talk about obviously. We covered this on Sunday. I think as
Mhm.
it happened. On that day was a guy Ryan Ruth confirmed. Ryan Ruth tried to take out Donald Trump while he was golfing.
Right.
And he was hiding in the bushes. And fortunately, the Secret Service, who was ahead of hole, saw his little gun peeking out of the bushes, and they started firing on him, which sounds pretty based. I'm curious, did they like even say like, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" Or they just said, "Oh, look, there's a thing." Bam, 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 bam. Because it sounds like they just kind of like opened fire, which I mean turned out to be the correct call of action because it was a shooter. So.
Yeah, look at that. They just
Mhm.
opened fire. Nice. Nice to know.
Right. So yeah, so pretty based. The guy ran away. I don't believe he got hit at all. He ran away, but was captured and is in custody currently. So
Mhm.
obviously this sparks, the entire conversation of, well, who is this guy? What was he motivated by? Did he watch MSNBC? Is he a Rachel Maddow fan? Is he a evil, white nationalist who's mad at Trump for not being strong in the borders? Everyone wants to kind of point fingers and sign blame to one side or the other, right? This is what happened the first time. Is the Democrats radicalizing the rhetoric? Is it unrelated? Is it just a random crazy person? Blah, 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 blah. And it's funny, I haven't really seen anyone else talk about this except, us on Sunday when we were kind of going through it live. Was so when this guy's X Twitter page was still up, you could go through his tweets and like on almost all his tweets, he put his real phone number on the tweets.
Which was probably his worst mistake ever in hindsight, right?
Yes, yes, and I mean, obviously the guy's crazy. I mean, obviously anyone who's going to try to like shoot somebody, especially like a presidential candidate, is crazy. But he would be like, "Hey, Tulsi Gabbard, I think we should work together. Here's my phone number. Like, call me, right? Hey, President Zelensky, I want to help you the war effort. Here's my phone number. Call me." Like on Twitter, like the fucking like
How
Zelensky's
many
going to see this on Twitter and be like, "Oh, let me call this random fucking schmo."
how many death threats went out on that number yesterday?
I'm sure
Just a guesstimate.
like 10 million,
Probably
10,000
like
at least.
thousands, right?
Right. In the
Everybody
thousands, yeah.
calling, how dare you try to assassinate our candidate?
Right. Well, I saw at least there was one person who posted a picture. They texted a picture of like Trump being like, haha, you missed. So
Oh, did they?
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. A lot of texts.
So it was also kind of discovered that this guy wrote a book
Oh
that you
no.
can
Oh
buy on
no.
Amazon if you have Kindle,
Which
which I
is a
don't have.
bestseller now, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure everyone's kind of going through it now. And so this book is called Unwinnable. It's about like the war, in Afghanistan. Because it turns out that this guy, his main motivation, it seemed like, was that he was super, super, super into Afghanistan and essentially thinking that America should be hyper involved in Afghanistan.
Oh
And
wow.
and now to be fair here, this information comes from Max Blumenthal. Okay.
Oh, please
Right.
stop.
So Max Blumenthal, if you don't know, is a socialist, far leftist, hates America, America bad, works for the gray zone, totally, totally, totally massively biased, unreliable piece of shit. Right.
Yeah.
but he either has a physical copy of Ryan Ruth's book, or he got the PDF for it, which he didn't link. And I trying to find the PDF for the book. I couldn't find it. But maybe someone will link it at some point online. So Max Blumenthal did post pictures of text from this book that Ryan Ruth, put out there. And so I bring up Max's bias because I think the pictures are real, but obviously he is going to be selective in what passages he puts up on the internet, right? If there was some
Exactly.
passage that was, you know, showed this guy was like a socialist, I don't know if Max Blumenthal would have I doubt he would put it up on the internet essentially, right?
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
So, right. So
He'd hide it.
yeah. So anyway, so the passages that Max Blumenthal chose to highlight on Twitter are kind of interesting in that it shows that this guy was he's like it's hard to figure out how to define him politically because essentially his view, at least from the passages Max Blumenthal chose to highlight, makes him seem like unironically Team America World Police,
Right.
the movie from the South Park
Well,
era.
that's against Max Blumenthal's outlook, though.
Right. That's part of why he would
He's
choose
super
to highlight it.
isolationist. Yeah. So he's like,
Yes.
look, this guy's crazy. He wants us to go out there and help people.
Well, Max Blumenthal, he thinks America is the evil capitalist Western empire that's trying to take over the world. So yes, he wants America to
Right.
be quote isolationist, and that he wants America to be destroyed. Where the shooter Ryan Ruth seems to be the exact opposite. He thinks America is like the most amazing, country in the world, and it's America's duty to march through the world, essentially spreading freedom by force and taking out anyone who opposes, this whatever Ryan Ruth's ideology is for freedom. And this
Oof.
includes that Ryan Ruth believes that America and the West should go into full on nuclear war with Russia and China.
Well, that doesn't seem like a good idea.
No, no. And he even talks about how like we should start World War III or World War IV with Russia and China in order to like spread freedom and just kind of get it over with. And talks about how America should just do a kind of like first strike, nuclear strike on Russia, and that everyone should just not be so afraid of nuclear weapons anymore, the way that we are currently, not wanting to start drama.
Okay. That's a little strange, but I
He
think
says,
nuclear war would start a lot of drama. How
you
about
think.
you?
He says, this is what he says in his book. The entire world runs and hides in fear because Putin has nuclear weapons. Why has the world been afraid of Russia for the last 100 to 300 or 1,000 years when we have the power to end it? We must strike first. Sitting and waiting, doing nothing as this tragedy unfolds. I'm telling you now who will win here. Russia. And we're going to sit and allow decades of war to grind on without ending it, and Russia once and for all. Enough is enough. The world cannot allow a country to be involved in conflict after conflict and do nothing. It must be quick and decisive blow to end it once and for all. Again, we must give Ukraine back all of the nuclear warheads that we took, with only the stipulation is that they all be used.
What?
We
No way.
must,
Here, we're giving these to you, but you got to shoot them at
you got
Russia.
to, yeah, exactly. Here's your nukes back. The only requirement is you use them all immediately on Russia.
It would be hard for us to stay out of the conflict if that was the case.
I feel like that is the case. Yeah, I feel like that's true. We must instigate this war and push the issue to an end. All NATO nations have missile defense systems in place to eliminate what Putin sends, and the fallout will blow in his direction. Well, that's wishful
Wow.
thinking.
Yeah. Huh.
Why do we not call it what it is and recognize that it is World War III? Iran and China have already sided with Russia. We must stand for the moral and we must stand for the moral of the world and never back down. We must end the cycle of stupidity so that the future generations are not forced with the same problems. When I look back at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, or the tragic events of Chernobyl or Fukushima, it all may be horrible, but we have been able to manage the cleanup and deal with the disaster. Look at that. Who cares if a bunch of people die in a nuclear war? 50 years, 60 years, 100 years, it
The
won't be that big a deal,
population of
right?
those cities is like off the charts now. It's probably like
Yeah,
10 times the population of Hiroshima.
exactly.
Like
Yeah,
just killing 10 times the people.
yeah.
Oof.
Who cares, right?
No,
Why are
I
we
care.
afraid to deal with this? Why are we afraid to deal with that again? Nuclear weapons put a quick and decisive end to World War II. So why are we afraid now? Why do we even have nuclear weapons if we are not prepared to use them? Why have the largest military in the world if you're not prepared to deploy them?
I
So
guess he
much
doesn't
criminal.
know about mutually assured destruction.
No, he doesn't. He does not. So much criminal activity comes out of Russia that we cannot ignore. Okay, so this guy obviously, besides a crank. So that's why it is. I do think it is kind of hard, unless there's like additional passages in this book that Max is hiding, which very well may be the case as of now. Until we can get more information about this, I can see why it would be hard for people to kind of pin down what exactly this guy believes in. Obviously, he does not like Donald Trump. He's made that very clear, both in this book and in his Twitter post. And he did have a tweet about how he thought Donald Trump was a threat to democracy. But the fact that he's such a massive warmonger would go against the sort of standard, when you think of like the like leftist violent, Antifa person who would maybe take a shot at Trump. Those are generally the people that think America is awful and don't really want America gallivanting around the world, bringing freedom left and right.
Yeah, this is tough because like the current narrative for the climate we're in doesn't neatly fit this guy, which,
Right.
obviously people always want to pound some story like this into a particular narrative that's already available, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right. Well, I'm curious because even though, he did say that he voted for Trump in 2016, I didn't really see a lot of information about what was like why, what was his thought process in voting for Trump in 2016.
right.
Because that is
Well,
interesting.
Hillary killed all those people. So,
Well, that's why it's kind of weird because this guy seems to be very like Bush era neoconistic in his worldview. And yet, when in 2016, there was this narrative or this belief that like Hillary was the warmonger. She wanted to set up the no-fly zone in Syria. She wants to maybe start a war with Russia, blah, 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 blah. So you'd think if that was this guy's worldview, he would have been
oh,
in
yeah.
favor of Hillary, unless he was like, well, I think Hillary's going to be kind of the continuation of Obama soft on the world stage. That's what I'm saying. It would be useful if we knew why he voted for Trump in 2016 to try to like figure out what exactly this guy's ideology is and what his motivations are.
Yeah. So, how is the media spinning this? What are they going with?
So it's very annoying because I saw there's a clip of Joy Reid and she's like, "This guy's a registered Republican," and it's like,
Right.
okay,
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
that's like stupid,
They're already
you
going
know.
the two movies angle, right? The
Right,
the
right,
right is
right.
calling him Antifa, and the left is calling him a, a registered Republican.
Right, right. Yeah. So the left is kind of hitting it from that angle. The right is hitting it from the angle of obviously, they had the tweet about him saying Trump starts democracy. So they're hitting it from, he's been radicalized by the mainstream media, um, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When so
Right.
far it just seems his major primary motivation is this kind of this idea. I mean, this is a guy who flew to Ukraine. He literally tried to join the war, the Foreign Legion, in Ukraine. They denied him because he was too old. They said, "No, you're an old fuck. Get out of here." Right. And
Right.
then he stuck around, I believe, for some period of time in Ukraine, attempting to get money or resources or other people to be involved in this fight. So this is his primary motivation. So it would make sense that if your primary motivation is this war in Ukraine and you believe that Trump is going to be soft on Ukraine, if you believe Trump is like a Russian asset or something to that effect, then that would make sense as to what would motivate Ryan Ruth to engage in this behavior, trying to take out
Right.
Trump.
So why does he have an AK-47? That's a Russian gun.
It's reliable, I guess. Aren't they
No,
supposed to be
actually,
pretty
it's
good?
notoriously unreliable.
Oh, really? I thought they were
Yeah.
supposed to be pretty like solid, like guns. But I'm not a gun guy. I have no clue. There's like some line I think in Lord of War he talks about like how good they are, but so
Capitalism
who knows?
produces the best weapons, Sitch. You know that. Come
That's
on.
true. That's true.
Yeah, what's up with that? I was like, he's got a AK-47. I'm like, holy
Right.
shit.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, why is he maybe he's like it's ironic.
Stolen from the Russian front.
Right, right. So yeah, and then it's just we bring up this whole conversation again that comes up, which is this like, okay, how do we tone down the rhetoric? Or like first of all, you even say, is the rhetoric even at fault? Number one. Number two, how do you tone down the rhetoric, right? In order to, have a world where we don't have these attempts on presidential candidates, attempts on political violence, blah 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 blah. Um,
I know how.
how do we do that?
Speech restrictions.
I don't think that's the answer.
I know. It's a terrible problem, right? It's a wicked problem here because people have to voluntarily curb their based instincts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their primal desire to paint the other guy as the devil.
Yeah, I mean, it's that, and it's also that, as I've always said, everything is like a LARP until it's not, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
like,
yeah,
this they kind of throw this, and I think it's unfair, but they throw this at Trump on January 6th, where they say he made that comment about like, what did he say? He said something about like we're gonna march down to the Capitol and fight like hell, or he made some comment like that, and people are saying, oh, well, that was the advocation for violence. And it's kind of like, well, I mean, I don't think that's fair. People use that rhetoric all the time in politics. It only becomes a problem when someone acts violently. It's kind of the same thing with almost all the political rhetoric, both on the left and the right, for most of this political season is like, okay, it's all kind of seen as okay until someone actually goes and does something violent. Then it's like, oh, you're advocating for violence.
right. Yeah, it's
And
all hindsight.
right. And with sort of how to look at it going forward, I think the biggest problem is you need like what's the word? Um, detente. You need like a detente of both sides agreeing to chill the fuck out. And that's never going to happen in a million years.
Well,
Right.
it did happen for like 15 minutes after the first shooting.
Yeah. For like 15 minutes. And then, Trump was like, you had like, if Trump just ended his RNC speech for like the first 30 minutes, I'd say yes. But then like the last half of it, he was all just back to, Democrats evil, trying to kill me, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And the problem is kind of like, and I've heard people on the right say, well, it should all be one-sided because the people are trying to shoot at Trump. And I'm like, that doesn't really, I understand where they're the odd, like the logic there, but it doesn't actually make sense. And the analogy I was kind of thinking about with this sort of this one-sided stopping of the rhetoric is like, imagine, so Russia invades Ukraine. Russia is 100% in the wrong for invading Ukraine. Russia should 100% stop doing this violent action, right? They invade Ukraine, they attack it. If Russia were to say, okay, you know what, we're going to stop attacking Ukraine, we're going to try to have some kind of peace talks, right? We're going to pull out our forces, we're going to have some kind of detente, we're going to try to figure this all out. And then while that's going on, Ukraine says, well, you attacked us first, so we're just going to keep attacking you, even though you're stopping, right? Is that going to work? Or is Russia going to just not be peaceful and then start attacking back, right? As soon as they get attacked again.
Yeah, now that they pushed into Russian territory, it's hard to say. It's hard to see this conflict coming to some sort of speedy resolution.
Right. So, but I guess my point is that when you have these situations, it doesn't really matter who's, quote, the one at fault. When you have both sides attacking each other, if you want there to be some level of peace, both sides have to agree to lay down their arms. That does not seem to be, neither side really seems to be very on board with doing that in this, war of rhetoric between the Democrats and Republicans. So there's no way it's gonna, I don't think there's any way it's gonna happen. And also, I think,
Well, I do. There was an opportunity, I think, when when the assassination attempt happened on Trump. But the problem
yeah,
is, like you say, as soon as one side steps a little closer towards engagement, the other side steps a little closer, the other side steps a little closer. And then
right,
it's just like they're back exactly where they were
right,
overnight. Yeah.
yeah.
There has to be some moment that everyone says, okay, this has gone too far. We need to all chill. And it needs to stick. But I guess, I mean, really it was Trump's moment to turn down the rhetoric. And once he started, with all they're communist and all that stuff, then the Democrats were like, okay, well, we're going to go back to what we were saying.
Exactly.
Like, if he's
Right.
going to lie about us, we're going to lie about him.
Yeah, and I remember we said this when we watched the RNC speech, where like, the first half of it was like fantastic, and he really, I think he could have won the election then and there, even with Biden dropping out, if he had just sort of been like, I'm going to take this kind of high road. regardless of what the Democrats say, so the Democrats look really bad. If he's like gonna, if he runs on this idea of like that he's been, changed by the assassination attempt and everything. But then, Biden drops out, Harris comes in, and, Trump kind of has a complete meltdown and goes right back to, being Trump. So
Yeah,
I feel like
it's
there's no way at this point that the rhetoric is ever going to get toned down, no matter what happens. So,
yeah, because this is. I mean, this is not going to be another moment to reset. Everyone's going to be like, "Oh, well, we tried this again, and it was just."
right.
And we got an election coming up here. I mean, we don't really have time to do this reset thing again. So
No, no, of course not. Well, also
let's
because it's
just
like,
keep. Let's just
it's,
keep going.
it's also lesser than the first time because the first time he actually got shot. He's bleeding. He has a picture, right? This time he didn't. So it seems as like it's going to be a lesser event, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and everyone's numb to it already. Like
Yeah.
a
Well,
third shooter would come out, and everyone
there
would
you
be like,
go.
"Yeah, oh, whatever."
There you go.
Like it's the same
Um,
thing with the school shootings too. Pretty soon the Democrats are going to be saying, "Well, you had it coming. You haven't done anything about these school shooters."
I hope not. I hope not. But
I don't know if you
they
saw.
have talked about increasing, even Biden, I believe, talked about increasing security on Trump. So that's good, at least,
Oh, okay.
because this is kind of getting, ridiculous. You don't want this constant people, aiming and trying to kill Donald Trump.
Someone should do a meme where remember when Biden put the Trump hat on?
Hmm.
Like he puts a Trump hat on, and all of a sudden there's a shot, and the hat
Yeah.
goes flying off.
Yeah, there you go. That's why he put the Trump hat on. He was trying to, get some of he's trying to provide like a distraction, right? Confuse the shooter. Be like, wait, I see it's just two old white men. Which one is which one's Donald Trump?
So the Trump campaign put out this Democrats rhetoric inspired another attempt on President Trump's life.
Hmm.
Did you see this where they
I
go
did
through?
see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so terrible. They do such a bad job at this because they
The
include examples that are like, really?
are weak. Yeah.
Yeah, why? Just it would be better. They're going for the long list thing, which I'm not a fan of the long list thing, especially if there's stuff on here that's kind of bullshit.
Hmm.
Like Joe Biden, it's time to put Trump in a bullseye. I mean, that's probably not really. I'd have to know the context there. That's probably not so incendiary. I think when they're like when they say existential threat, I mean existential means a threat to existence.
Hmm.
I think those are some strong words, but some of these
Well,
are kind of weak sauce. It would be better if they just had like these real
yeah,
heavy
no, I
hitters.
agree.
Yeah.
Well, and I think they also fucked up because I saw that video. I don't know if it was like an official Trump campaign thing or something, but oh yeah, no, I guess it was. Well, the person on the tweet says it's the Trump campaign, so I guess it was. Um, I watched this and it was interesting because I watched this and I'm like, this is so cringe and it makes Republicans look like crybaby bitches right after someone tried to kill Trump. That's
What
an
is
impressive feat, right? That's an
Yeah,
impressive
of
feat
course.
of
I don't
shitty
know what the clip is
propaganda.
though. What do you it's so they put out some clip of Democrats saying this stuff or what's the clip?
The clip that you're talking about.
The the video? This is not a video. I brought it up.
Oh, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about a press release on their website.
Oh, okay. Well, I sent you the tweet.
Okay.
Um, so it says the Trump campaign drops a new ad of Democrat leaders using violent rhetoric against him after the second attempt on his life. Okay.
Okay.
Now it's kind of worded poorly. What they mean is this is past violent rhetoric used against Trump. And then now is the second step. This wasn't violent rhetoric used like immediately in the aftermath of, the shooting attempt. But I watched this ad and I was immediately like, wow, this is such a crybaby, like whingy pussy thing. And it's really weird because number one, I'm like, why do I feel this way? Someone literally just tried to kill Donald Trump. I should be more on his side. But that's how bad this ad. I think it's two things. Number one, that's how bad the ad is, and B, it does sort of completely play against type for the Republicans. And I do think this is maybe some of the problem. Like when you look at this, when you think of the stereotypes of Democrats and Republicans, the stereotype is a Republican is like to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, don't whine, fight. And the Democrats are kind of the, oh, life is unfair, reality is unfair, have the government or some kind of external force come in and like fix things, make things more fair, make things more equal. And it does seem to go against type if the Republicans are just whining, 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 whining about like the Democrats being too mean, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh God, I can hear the voices in my head already of everyone on the left saying, "Oh my God, like you right wing snowflake, how can you?" So you want to listen to this?
Well, you can like yeah, you can we can play it, and you can see like right like the first clip they choose is so stupid
Okay, here
because
we
it
go.
puts you in immediately a bad mindset. Okay, so here, let's click it.
3, 2, 1, go.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Okay, I see
Chris always asks me, don't I wish I were
okay,
debating?
you're trying to do your political, you know.
Are you pausing?
Yeah. You're trying to do your political persuasion that like the Democrats are, you know, a threat to democracy or they're dangerous or whatever. And your first clip is like just a very, very obvious tame joke on fucking Ellen DeGeneres' show.
Yeah, totally.
Like this is so bad. Like I watched them like, oh my God, this is impressively bad.
Yeah, we don't. Jokes can't be off limits. That's not the direction to go. Look, I said speech restrictions jokingly, but this is the kind of thing that I worry about. It's like, okay, now we can't make a kill me joke.
Yeah, but it's like, especially when, you know, you're talking about like Donald Trump, okay, the candidate who's known for saying like
Incendiary
maximally
shit.
incendiary things. And then when people go, oh my God, Trump said a racism, Trump says sexism, Trump said something, you know, Trump and Trump's supporters say, I was joking, I'm being sarcastic, you know, blah, 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 right? And so this just comes off to me as so limp-wristed, like, oh God, just really
Limp-wristed,
bad.
what does that mean?
Limp-wristed?
Yeah.
It means weak.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you think it means?
It means flamboyant.
Oh, is it like an anti-gay thing?
I think so.
I don't think
yeah.
so. I think it just means ineffectual.
Okay. Should we continue to the next clip, the Joe Biden clip?
If you want, yeah. I mean, I just can watch the whole thing, but
I want to see it. I didn't see this.
hit
I
it.
was talking about the actual press release, which I guess I
Oh.
could send to you.
Well, okay, send some. Let's watch the rest of this.
I retweeted it. Lucy Lemonbug tweeted it out, so you can find it on my timeline.
Okay.
One of us have to come out alive?
Chris always asks me, don't
That doesn't even really make sense. Does one of us have to come out alive? Like they're all gonna die in there? She's gonna commit suicide too? Like,
well, you're right.
Her joke is even stupid.
First of all, it's Kamala Harris. Okay, so the bar is very low on her being an effective,
her
funny
joke doesn't even make
joke
sense.
teller, right?
Look,
so we all kind of have to intuit what she's talking about.
Right. You got to fill in the, oh no, she's going to come out alive.
Mm-hmm.
The joke is, do all of us have to come out alive? That's the joke.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Kamala. You need professional comedy writers, like the ones that wrote your acceptance speech.
Right.
always ask me, don't I wish I were dead?
Oh, I forget we don't have the watch together. I'm going now, and I won't pause again.
Chris always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school, I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
That you cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
President Walker, how do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
When they go low, we kick.
Please, get up in the face of some Congress people.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Okay, I totally agree with you.
Yes, very like
weak sauce.
Super weak sauce.
Yeah.
Super pathetically lame. I think the concept is
it's
could be an
great.
effective one.
Yeah.
Right? It's an interesting, like, people always like this sort of no you Uno reverse card. So for the Republicans to be like, the Democrats are the party of violence, they're the ones shooting Donald Trump. They're the ones rioting in the BLM. Like, that could be an effective strategy because, the Democrats say Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, Proud Boys, white supremacy, Charlottesville, blah, 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 blah. Right. So then to do the Uno reverse card, that could be effective. But this is like just so pathetic. This is a very pathetic attempt to do that.
Yeah, it's weak. Not good. Oh, well.
Okay. So I think the Republicans are going to lose more than they're going to gain if they keep hitting on this sort of, oh, we're the victims, we're the victims, we're the victims. Because that completely plays against the entire thing that the Republicans are trying to go for. They're trying to say the Democrats are the party of victimization. We're the party of like strong men. So I think it'd be a huge mistake for them to go, we're the victims, we're the victims, we're the victims.
Well, I wonder if it captures independent voters, center voters, because obviously those people are not really into the Republican stereotypes anyway. And
I don't know if
they lose base.
I feel like they don't care about this. I feel like the independent voters, they care about, I want my groceries to be less expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know if I care about this shit. Okay.
What is this? I use Microsoft Edge for the one window that we do the watch together in. You can't even select the URL without Microsoft Edge completely like screwing you over. It's like, why? I want the URL. I don't want the name of the page and a link to the website.
I don't use Microsoft Edge for anything. Jeez.
Yeah.
Right.
You shouldn't. That's horrible. Anyway.
Okay. I think the other two things, unless there's something you want to talk about, the other two things
I want to know more about the crypto, and we were going to go over some of the policies.
Yeah, because Kamala has policies on her thing, and I do want to make a chart. Maybe we'll just like jot them down. Maybe ChatGPT will make a chart for us. We kind of like list out what are the Kamala policies, what are the Trump policies, and then you can kind of like just have this visual looking at them. Because I don't know if you saw, Trump had a new thing. I don't know if it's on his website. He had a policy where he's saying that they're gonna. Well, I think he said this before. Oh, thank you. Someone sent me the PDF for Ryan Ruth's book. But there was Trump talked about that he was going to cut any taxes on Social Security completely. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, really?
He said, Kamala's going to tax Social Security. I'm going to cut taxes on Social Security.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good thing to do.
So, and also counter the whole, like, Prior 2025 wants to get rid of entitlements, which we talked about, or at least Social Security specifically the other day. So
that is a good way to get through the noise. So in this thing, I guess they're updating it because they've got some of the headlines that are responding to Donald Trump getting shot. This one's particularly horrible. The Cincinnati Enquirer. The former president, Donald Trump, brings a lot of this stuff on himself. Oh, God.
It's not great. Yeah.
What bastards.
Okay, you wanted to talk about the crypto thing?
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I didn't click on the link but I did hear some people talking about it. So in some video.
Well, again, I think this is a massive mistake for Trump to do. Well, I don't know if they gave a shit, but so apparently Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump are trying to create a new Trump cryptocurrency.
Right.
Okay. Says, this is the article from it. Says Trump's crypto venture faces scrutiny from House Democrats. After weeks of hype, Donald Trump's family is rolling out its new cryptocurrency startup. Democrats on Capitol Hill are taking notes. The former president used a live stream on social media site X. Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know. Did you listen to any of this space on X? It was super weird. there's like some, I'm not familiar with him. There's some content creator who's like one of these crypto content creators, and he sounds very young. I don't know how old he is. And he's like interviewing Trump. I think this is like Trump's like first or second interview after, someone tried to shoot him. And it's like he's talking to some random
It's
crypto
about
bro
the
on,
crypto.
well, Trump does himself, he doesn't talk about the crypto, but like before, it's actually really cringe. Before Trump even comes on, the guy who's running the space puts on this disclaimer about how like they're going to be hawking financial products or something at some point in the spaces. And then it's like, thank you for coming on, Donald, like Trump. Like it makes it seem like it's like a QVC like bullshit thing that the host, instead of just having an interview with Donald Trump, has to immediately put out this like disclaimer that they're going to be like shilling for some kind of product before Trump even comes on.
Yeah.
So
The
looks
Securities
really
and
bad.
Exchange Commission is pushing to classify crypto as a security, a stock, basically. Yeah.
Really
Which
interesting.
it is closer to a stock than
Now,
a medium of exchange, obviously. So
would that be a bad thing or a good thing for the crypto investors?
I'm not sure the crypto people will actually care,
Mm-hmm.
but
I'm
they
assuming it
will.
changes some kind of regulatory
Yeah,
process.
they'll have to do all kinds of disclosures on their crypto
Right.
that they're not effectively doing now, which,
Well, then they would care, right?
yeah, like the pump and dump stuff would probably have to come to an end. I mean, that's what they're trying to stop anyway.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. It says the former president used a live stream on social media site X Monday evening to help launch. That's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's a little dishonest how they phrased that, but because he didn't really talk about it. To help launch World Liberty Financial, a crypto company led by his sons and real estate investor Steve Witkoff. His venture is a new twist in Trump's embrace of the crypto world, which he promised to give a big boost if he's elected in November. So not only does it seem like very cheap to me, but well, let me ask you how you feel about this. Because I hear this and I'm like, okay, we went through how many years of how dare Hunter Biden supposedly make money off of his father's name, right? We went through that for like years. Hunter Biden making money off of Joe Biden. Hunter Biden's giving money to Joe Biden. He's the big guy. He's getting 10%. This is such a big deal. There needs to be a full investigation. It's blah, 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 blah. Right. And then we have like literally on the, while Donald Trump's running for president, right? His sons are literally making money off of Trump's name with a cryptocurrency, very like completely out in the open. No one's hiding anything about it. And I'm like, well, doesn't this completely annihilate anyone that writes ability to complain about Hunter Biden doing anything at this point?
Well, Hunter Biden was technically selling influence, though, and they're not really selling influence. They're not saying, well, there is a little bit of that going on if he's saying his policy proposals are going to be friendly to crypto, right?
That's the problem. Because if it was just, well, at first, when I first heard about this, I thought, well, it's not a big deal. They're doing a crypto and it's going to be like I thought it was going to originally go into Donald Trump's campaign. So I thought it was just going to be like, oh, this is just a way to generate money for his campaign. Who cares, right? But then I looked into it. I'm like, wait, no, it's not. This is going to go into their pockets. This is private money. This is not campaign. This is not a campaign contribution. And I was like, well, I mean, it's kind of like gross, but it's not, to me, it wouldn't be such a huge deal because presumably people, as you said, they're buying a product, if they want to support, if they want to just dump money into Donald Trump's family, I guess, it's your right as an American to do that. The problem is then if he wins the presidency and then it's like, okay, so his sons start a cryptocurrency, Donald Trump wins the presidency, and then he's going to start advocating, to cut down regulations or to do things favorable to crypto. Then you have the Hunter Biden situation, right?
Yeah. Look, a lot of people copy other people. They do what other people do and become successful at. There's a fundamental difference between stock trading or bond trading and cryptocurrency. And, just to be simple about it, like when you buy a stock, you're investing in a company that is making some sort of product and potentially making profits off of that product. And you're basically buying a little piece of that company and a piece of those profits as That's basically the idea behind stocks. Now, Sitch, I've heard you on the show before say, you thought the stock market was a scam. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of companies that are, there are a lot of scams, I think, in stock trading. This is why the Securities and Exchange Commission tries to weed out some of those scam companies and try to keep the market generally safe for investors. When you buy something like Apple or Amazon, those companies are making things and making profits, right? Starbucks is selling coffee and making a shitload of money selling coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
What the value of a stock is like the value of a house. It's whatever anybody is willing to pay for it. And same with crypto, right? The value of the crypto is what anyone's willing to pay for it.
Right.
The only problem with crypto is like, what is the underlying asset in crypto?
There's none. It's nothing.
Yeah. Like a lot of the crypto people, like with Bitcoin, they're like, okay, this is going to be the future of money. Like it's an idea. Is that idea like a profitable idea? I don't.
Well,
look,
I guess
go ahead.
you could argue that people do invest in ideas all the time, right?
That are going to
In
make
terms-
money.
Yeah, but they invest in an idea of like, oh, someone has an idea for a business startup. And you say, okay, here's $1 million. You go on Shark Tank. Here's $1 million. I want 50% of your company, right? You're investing in an idea.
Yes. Okay. And they talk about things like scalability. They talk about market size. They're ultimately talking about an idea that is going to make money. That's going to be an idea that's going to generate revenue for a company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the ultimate value of a stock is based on how much money that company generates. If that company generates no money and ends up going out of business, the stock goes to zero because the company's worthless, right? But in crypto, you're buying something because you think someone else will buy that thing from you for more money in the future. But it's not tethered to anything like profits. When you buy Apple, they do every quarter, they do a profit and loss statement that people look at. They do the earnings call. They figure out how much money they made. Did they make more money than last quarter? Did they make less money than last quarter? And the stock fluctuates accordingly. With crypto, there's none of that. It's just all based on the vibes.
I guess you could say like, so like when you have like the big crypto, like Bitcoin, when it first came out, it was originally, as you were saying, supposed to be like you were investing in not just this completely speculative gamble thing. I guess it was speculative, but you were investing in this idea that this is going to be a currency that will be traded and used to buy things in the future. It will be an actual form of currency.
Well,
that's what you were investing in.
And
originally.
There's not going to be any the current. There's going to be the way the currency inflates is going to be very specific, and it's going to
it wouldn't be
stop
controlled
at
by
a certain
a government and blah blah blah. Right. So I can understand that, but then obviously once all these other cryptos enter the market, that's not really the case. I don't believe, I could be wrong, but I don't believe most people think that if they invest in the Donald Trump cryptocurrency or any of these other sort of lesser cryptocurrencies, that those cryptos are going to become some kind of actual, you're going to be able to go to the grocery store and trade in your Trump, your Trump coins for groceries at some point.
No. Well, and a lot of the cryptos do function almost like a stock in that the people come out and say, oh, this crypto we're going to use to make some game or launch some media company, right? So they are kind of making it seem like this is where the value is going to come from.
Right.
But ultimately they don't. They're just like social media influencers getting people to buy,
of course,
their own crypto coin and then selling all.
But here's what I think I disagree with you, because I don't remember the context of me saying that the stock market is a scam. I probably was referring to, because you were saying that, okay, a stock is based on something tangible. It's based on how much profits a company makes. Where the crypto is basically just someone buying a thing and they're only buying it and its value is only generated by them thinking they can sell it for more money later.
Yeah. It's The demand for the product is the demand for the crypto is what generates people's interest.
But my problem with that is that is literally exactly the same way that people treat stock. They only buy stock because they think they can sell it later for more.
No, I completely
it's like the exact
agree
same
with you.
process. Yeah.
And this is what I was saying about often people just copy people without understanding what is going on, right? Like it's the reason why Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and all these seasoned investors are like, what the hell is crypto? Like, I don't want anything to do with crypto, is because they are looking at companies and trying to evaluate what they are worth in real terms, right? What kind of profitability do they have? What kind of assets do they hold? Are they growing? Are they shrinking? Do they have good a management team, right? Do they have a good workflow system, right? They're looking at tangible things. What do you look at in crypto? Nada. Zip, zero, zilch. You're like, what am I buying here?
My problem though is that it's still, the stock market is still run on perception at the end of the day. This is how you get, like, in the 90s, we had this tech bubble where everyone would all investors were just so excited about the internet and all these tech startups. They just throw money at these random tech companies, and, have all these tech stocks that would go crazy, and people would, buy a bunch of it and, maybe lose a bunch of it, right? Because it would all drop. And essentially it'd be like, okay, you're going to invest in a bunch of money in some tech company, and then everyone's investing in it. So the stock price goes wild. And then at some point, someone figures out, oh, this company doesn't do anything or it's not going to go anywhere. So then all of a sudden the stock price craters because everyone's trying to sell their stocks. But
that's based on a real world situation.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like,
sooner or later, their perception of what the future will be, and then the future comes and it's not that. It's a tangible system.
It doesn't really theoretically matter. Like, you could have a company that makes absolutely nothing, but there's all this weird hype around it, and everyone buys the stock, and then everyone says, oh, this company doesn't do anything. And if everyone says, well, we don't care if the company doesn't do anything, we're still going to just keep the stock, then the price never goes down. Whether the company actually makes money or not doesn't actually affect the stock price. It only affects people's perception of whether they think they want to own the stock or not.
Look, like I said, scam situations happen.
No, but
what
it's not
you're
a scam. I'm
describing
just saying that's
is
just
the
the way
meme stock.
It's not a scam. That's just the way it works. It's like the stock price representing the profits is like a secondary thing. It's not.
I
like
don't think we disagree at all. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
I guess you
right.
understand that there is an underlying asset, and a lot of times people differ on what that underlying asset is worth. Correct? That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Like, when what are some of the GameStop, right? GameStop. Everyone's like, look, we're going to buy GameStop. We're going to treat GameStop like our crypto. Okay.
Right.
Why make a crypto? Just grab a company, a failing company, and we'll just play with that stock, right? So people buy GameStop. Even GameStop got in on the action. They're like, holy shit. We are a company. We need money for investment. We need to go in a different direction. We're dying here. So they're the ones that control the stock. They're like, we'll sell a bunch of our own stock to these crazy people, right? We'll take that money and we'll try to invest in some programs and improve profitability. I mean, it completely failed. They weren't able to do it. They weren't able to make the adjustment, right? How are they going to compete with Steam?
Right.
So, but sooner or later, that company is going to go out of business. And when they file for bankruptcy, like, that stock is going to be worthless. Whoever's caught holding the bag is going to have worthless stock that is not going to be traded on any exchange. It's going to be worthless. So,
yeah, but I guess all I'm trying to say is that the underlying, there's like a primary thing and there's a secondary thing. On the primary level, the underlying asset between a cryptocurrency and the stock is exactly the same. It's just a perception of a price.
Hold on.
What you're saying, hold on.
I just laid out GameStop is the underlying asset.
Hold on. Let me just say what I'm going to say. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a primary underlying asset and there's a secondary underlying asset. The primary underlying asset on stock and crypto is the same thing. It's people just saying, I think this is going to raise in price and I can sell it and make money.
That's
Now,
not an asset.
what's the underlying concept of why people are buying it in the first?
Okay, but it's not an asset.
Well, kind of is, because it's the only reason people are buying it in the first place.
Look, if you want to call hype an asset, it's not really an asset though.
I mean, it definitely can be.
Sure, like a brand. People do think of brands as an asset, and the hype around a brand can be valuable. Sure,
right. But I'm saying if the underlying asset is just what the price is based on and is based on a hype, then that is the underlying asset, is it not?
Well, the brand, even brands. I mean, there's this structure in the stock market, right? The stock market doesn't list companies to trade. They don't list their stocks if those companies are bankrupt or don't.
I understand. Okay, but anyway, let me get back to what I was. Okay, so there's like this primary reason or underlying asset, whatever word you want to use, which is that people buy stocks and crypto for literally the same purpose. The secondary thing that you're talking about is, well, stocks, even though primarily it's based around the perception of the price of the stock, there's a secondary thing where people base their perception of the price based on whether the company makes money or not. And even though those two things aren't like, there's no hard and fast rule that says that those things have to be connected. That's just what people have decided to connect in their minds in order to determine the values of stock. Like you could theoretically,
this is crazy.
Wait, this is not crazy. Okay. Theoretically, you could have GameStop could be downsized to one person running out of his house for, and making zero money. And as long as a bunch of, meme, buyers want to pay for high prices for GameStop stock, then it will still do whatever it's going to do. Right. And that's all. So crypto is weird because crypto is essentially just acknowledging sort of that fact and removing this completely secondary underlying physical asset or using this physical property as a value judgment for the stock completely.
Some people buy and sell stock exactly the way you're talking about. Generally, they're thought of as the suckers. Okay.
That is not true. That's
they
foolish.
are. They are.
No, that's very foolish.
Why do you think that?
Okay, tell me who the non-suckers are. What is their big brain?
Look, if I have an old car, okay, that's worth $500, and I convince you to buy it for $10,000, okay,
right,
and I know there's no way you can get more than $500 out of this car. Who's the sucker in this relationship?
The person who buys the car for $10,000, unless they have someone who's going to buy it for $11,000 already lined up, they're the sucker. Yeah, of course.
And there are plenty of investors, there are plenty of stock traders who look at the actual value of the underlying asset. Now, those people don't go in and bid up GameStop.
No. Okay, you're not understanding what I'm saying at all.
Something has value. Something ultimately has value.
You're not tracking what I'm saying, which is like if someone is going to say, okay, I'm going to quote invest smart by looking at, a company's earnings and holdings and how much profit they're making.
There you go. Okay.
All those things, right? That is smart. I think you should do that. You should 100% do that. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but the reason they're doing all that isn't because they give a fuck on a primary level about how the company does. It's because they believe, it's because they believe that if the company does well, that will increase the stock price. That's why they're doing it. It's a secondary thing. Yes.
But ultimately, the stock price is pinned to the value of the underlying asset. And that's the thing that you keep saying. You keep acting like doesn't exist.
Well, no, I'm not acting like it. No, you're not understanding. It exists. Okay. It exists, but it's not a one for one. It's correlative. It's not a one for one causative thing.
Of course. And I said that.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I said, look, people's perception of value is all over the place. Okay. Like we're all trying to determine what things are worth.
Right.
What things are worth to other people, what things are worth to us. So, but in crypto, you literally have.
Yeah, there's nothing. Right.
Yeah.
They've removed this thing.
Yeah. So it is running fully on hype.
100%,
like an amendment I would say to make to your way of talking about this is talk about the underlying asset as the primary reason and not the secondary reason.
But it's
And the
not.
hype being the secondary
But it's
reason.
not. It's the difference is that when it comes to stock, okay, think of it like as a game. The stock market is a game. And the difference is that in the stock market, people have sort of agreed upon the rules of the game. And the rules are if a company does well, the stock will do well, right? This is sort of general agreement. Now, there's no hard and fast rules, nothing that dictates it. It's just like we've all kind of agreed this is how we're going to perceive things. And with crypto, that rule doesn't exist because there's nothing to base it off of other than hype.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So, but do you disagree that like a company that makes billions of dollars in profit is a valuable asset? Maybe that's where we're disagreeing.
Of course it's a valuable asset. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree completely with that. It's a valuable asset.
All right. So that's what the stock price is based on. So.
Okay.
But a lot of times they'll do like, 20 times earnings, 10 times earnings. That's where you start getting into, and this is more like what you're talking about, the rules of the game. Like people like to look to other people for value. It's the same way when you sell a house, they look at the comps in the area. They're like, what do other houses sell for in this area to kind of determine the value? What are other people doing? Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same with stock. But with crypto, I mean, this is the thing with crypto. What do you look to? In the real world.
Well, I guess it depends it depends because everything like the stock market, crypto is based entirely on like group psychology. And so it gets like, is crypto going to be one of these things like gold where they think if the normal market is doing bad, they're going to invest more in, gold or crypto? I believe they don't think that. They think it's kind of also goes along with the normal market cycle. So
here's where I think we're disagreeing, because you just said entirely. And I don't see how you can say when there's a company that's going to produce a product that they're going to sell to the public. Like that's not psychology. It's like the product either sells or not. It's like a tangible good.
Okay, maybe this is where a problem is. Okay. When you talk about something being a hard and fast rule, like let's think about it this way. If let's look at a company. Okay, let's use Apple as an example, right?
Okay.
When Apple
let's
says
use Starbucks.
Okay, let's use Starbucks. Okay. We have Starbucks as a company.
Right.
They say we're going to produce 500 cups of coffee today at like one store, right?
Right.
They are producing a physical like entity. They're saying we've produced 500 cups of coffee at this one store. And then they say, we're going to sell each of those cups of coffee for, just let's say $1 just for the sake of like ease, right? So we're going to make $500. That is we're producing a physical object. People are going to come. We're saying that they're going to pay this price. We're going to get this amount of money back. Boom. There's not like a psychology aspect to those transactions.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. It's just like physical object, physical result. Right. And what I'm saying is that even with the stock price, you can say, oh, well, if I have stock in a company, right? If Starbucks sells 500 cups of coffee, 1,000 cups of coffee, 10 million cups of coffee in one day, there's no physical immediate reaction that says, okay, if Starbucks sells 10,000 cups of coffee, your stock price will go up $1. If they sell 1 million, it goes up $10. There's no actual like rule, law, anything that dictates that change whatsoever. There's only the psychology of a person, a trader who says, if Starbucks is doing well, that means that people are going to think that this is a better investment. This is something that's going to be worth investing in. Thus, people are going to want to buy it. Thus, the price of it's going to go up because more people are going to be looking to buy the stock than sell the stock.
But every sector has like a price to earnings multiple that is kind of it's a rule that everyone has kind of adopted. So if the profits go up, usually the stock goes up accordingly.
Right, because everyone has agreed to that everyone's agreed to that psychology.
But look, there's psychology comes into play in price discovery.
I
What I'm
understand that.
talking about is the tangible underlying asset. And it sounds like we agree. Yeah.
No, but okay, you acknowledge that there's no physical mechanism in the world that makes stock price go up or down depending on whether a company produces, whether Starbucks produces 1,000 cups or 10,000 cups. It's not like the
There
second they
is.
produce.
It's called the price to earnings multiple.
No. Okay. Okay. When I'm trying to think of how the word is. When Starbucks.
I mean,
okay. When Starbucks. Wait.
NVIDIA's out of control right now, and everyone talks about the price to earnings multiple being like off the charts. Like what they're talking about is they believe NVIDIA one day will become so profitable that it will come back to a normal price to earnings multiple.
Right.
Like people are getting way out ahead of themselves, but they understand, they see the value in the future. Now reality is either going to come in and make them right or make them suckers.
Yeah, you're making my exact point. The price is based on the psychology. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
This is where we're disagreeing, okay? I'm talking about the value of the underlying asset. And you're talking about price discovery. You're talking about the psychology of price discovery. Those people who are buying NVIDIA for obscene multiples, okay? They believe that the company will become valuable enough that that investment will not be for naught. They think the tangible asset will be worth that.
Of course. Yeah.
But in the crypto situation, there is no tangible asset to be worth that. There literally is nothing.
I don't know if it's worth continuing down this path. We're just repeating ourselves. And this is like very stuck in like a definitional, conceptual, like MMT style, not
it's
really
not.
tracking the concept that's being discussed. It is. It 100% is.
It's not. The thing that's, a lot of people are scared away from the stock market. And I think comparing the stock market to crypto kind of scares a lot of people away from the stock market, when the stock market is really a great thing for people to generate wealth.
I agree.
So,
listen, I'm not trying to say that stock market is a great thing. People should definitely invest in the stock market way before they ever invest in crypto.
Well, why? It's exactly the same. They're just like what you're saying is they're exactly the same.
Because everything, everything in terms of the economy, not everything, but a big chunk of the economy and how prices are discovered, how things are bought and sold is based in psychology, is based in groupthink, in how like the group, tends to think about prices and all these things. And so if the group psychology is geared towards thinking that stocks are based on this physical, thing, like the profitability of a company, then that's going to make it a more stable, secure investment than crypto, which is kind of this more risky thing that people are kind of sus about.
See, that's kind of looking at it from the investor's perspective. The argument that I would make is that the stock market produces a whole lot of stuff, valuable stuff that we need: houses, Starbucks coffees, automobiles, smartphones.
Well, the companies produce those. The stock market doesn't produce those things, unless you're going to say that
the stock market does. The stock market is part of
going up,
producing those
allow
things.
companies to be valued at higher things, which allows them to borrow and leverage things at higher rates, which then they can use to create physical objects.
The stock market allows you as an individual to invest in the ingenuity of the companies that are developing the products and services that are making us all rich, wealthy beyond our wildest dreams. That stuff is the wealth of nations, okay? The problem I have with crypto is crypto produces nothing.
Okay. I agree with that 100%, right? By investing in the stock market or by investing in a company, you are to some capacity helping
enabling
a company.
Them. Yes.
Yes, you're helping a company which will create presumably a tangible good that will be useful to someone at some point in their life.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, it will go out of business, and you can buy a different stock.
Right.
You can invest in a different company.
Right. Well, crypto is just moving numbers around on the internet.
It's
and that's all it's doing. Yes, I agree with that. Sure,
It's
but that's
like
a
a
completely
financial
right.
asset.
But
It's like a
that's like a
mortgage-backed
moral. That's a moral claim, which I agree with the moral claim. But
right. Okay. Well, that's just a lot of people do, and I think this is why a lot of people get into crypto is because they have the same mentality that they don't understand the stock market. They think the stock market and crypto are the same thing because they don't know that there's this underlying asset. There's this
well, they're not
production.
considering this moral component to it that you are. They don't even care about. They're not thinking about it from a moral level at all.
Well, I'm not thinking about it. I
Well,
mean,
you
I
are.
wasn't really.
You're
How is
saying
that moral?
because you're saying that the stocks. You're saying it's moral because by investing in a company, it's has the potential to create something that's useful to society, where crypto creates nothing of value to anyone except to making people presumably money or making people lose money.
Right. I'm not sure there's any. Hmm. I'm looking at the difference between crypto and stock. I don't know that I look if you can buy crypto cheap and sell it more expensive to a bunch of suckers, you're basically selling them nothing. I mean, I would think you would be more against that. I'm the guy who doesn't care about price
yes,
gouging.
I agree. That's immoral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Right.
look, yeah, that's like as long as you know what you're getting into, as long as you know that you're buying something that there's no underlying asset, and what you're really doing is gambling. I mean, you're playing like a gambling game.
Well, I mean, yeah, stocks are gambling too. So, but just a little
This
bit more
is
stable gambling than
I think
crypto is more risky.
I think we had I think we had a conversation once, but it was not on stream about, God, I think they should teach the gambling because there is a gambling component to any investment, obviously.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Because none of us know the future.
Of course.
Right. But there is like, you agree that a business venture is different than like, we're going to draw cards or roll dice or.
Yeah, well, obviously it's different. Sure.
Okay. Well, crypto is more like the rolling dice, and the stock market is more like okay, we're going to make a business investment here, and a hurricane could come along and blow down all our houses. But still,
as you said, when I was describing something, you're saying, well, you're looking at it from the investor perspective. It is all a matter of perspective of what angle you're looking at it from. You could look at it from an angle, and stocks and going to a casino could literally be the same thing, and you would be correct if you look at it from a specific angle. And from that angle, which a lot of the investor crypto bro people are looking at it from, then it all lines up. If you're looking at it from this other angle about like what do the stocks produce? Is there this primary or secondary underlying thing about it, being representative of a company's earnings, and what does that mean for society? Then it doesn't. Then it looks very different.
Right.
So I just don't know if there's a universal objective rule to point to say this is why this is different.
Well, you do admit that the fact that there's an underlying asset in one and not in the other, that's an objective part of reality, right?
Yeah, obviously what the stock represents versus what the crypto represents is an objective fact.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
What? Look, I saw a bunch of super chats coming in. I'm curious what other people think of this.
Mr. Ubercross, thank you so much for the 20 gifted subs.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Totally awesome.
Guru Ralph for 26 months says, keep up the great work, guys. Love the show. A-Team reigns supreme. There you go.
Woo!
Look at that. Harold. Cameraman 502 for $5 says, are we going to talk about someone smoking Hezbollah using pagers? Thousands of terrorists need hip replacements. I heard about this story. I didn't look into any of it.
What is the story?
There was something about like that the Hezbollah people were using pagers, and that IDF somehow like hacked them to make them explode or something. Let me pull it up.
Really?
I was like, what? Like, I don't know. I just kind of
they all have lithium-ion batteries in them, so they could, which is a store of energy, right? Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Right.
That's got to be bad for the smartphone industry if you've discovered that.
If you discover a way to make everyone's explode to kill them, obviously that would be really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hezbollah, this is from Reuters. Hezbollah vows to punish Israel after pager explosions across Lebanon. Hezbollah calls it the biggest security threat breach in war with Israel. Hezbollah fighters among those killed, the group says. Pagers are used to try to avoid Israeli detection. No comment from the Israeli government yet. Militant group Hezbollah promised to retaliate against Israel after accusing it of detonating pagers across Lebanon, killing at least 8 people and wounding nearly 3,000 others.
8 people died?
But maybe they're holding the pager to their face or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ouch.
Let's see. Does it explain some? The pagers exploded in southern Lebanon. In one instance, closed circuit surveillance video carried by regional broadcasters show a person paying at a grocery store at what appeared to be a small handheld device placed near the cashier exploded. Can you pay with a pager? I don't know anything about how modern pagers even function.
Well, maybe just set it down.
People even use modern pagers. Like, I don't even know what is even the point of using a pager. They have they get like a number and they is there like pay phones in Lebanon that people are like running to make calls on or something? Let's see. Is there anything else interesting? Hezbollah fighters have been using pagers as a low-tech means of communication in the belief they could evade Israelis' location tracking. 2 sources familiar with the group operation told Reuters earlier this year. Oh, okay, so it says it can get messages like text messages. So I guess that makes sense. I don't know enough about the technology. Why would the technology of the pager be less able to track than a smartphone? Maybe just because it's more simplistic or something?
They've upgraded pagers.
Right.
Well,
I know
those have to be popular, right?
I know. I'm pretty sure they had text pagers before smartphones came about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that's like perfect for people who are like, don't call me.
Exactly.
I'm scared to talk on the phone.
It's a pager, right? I guess you'd say it'd be more like less hackable because if it's literally just text that doesn't have internet or something, then maybe it'd be less hackable. Obviously, it wasn't if everyone's pagers exploded. So, but you're right. That's a good point. If the IDF or some group can hack people's personal devices and make it explode, like, does that mean everyone's walking around with a fucking tiny bomb in their pocket all the time? Like, that's pretty scary, right?
That is totally scary.
Interesting.
That's what I was thinking. Don't hack me.
Okay.
I never put it up to my head anyway, but.
Oh, really?
Look, most of the time, everyone has it right in front of their face, so they're completely susceptible, right?
I know. They're going to get a bunch of glass in their eyeballs when it explodes,
Oh.
That's not good. But, also, yeah, well, it's interesting that you would have, like, the technology, like, it would be in a way that it would be, like, I know that the batteries can explode if something goes wrong, but you would think there wouldn't be a way to, like, quote, hack the phone to make it explode, right? But I guess not. At least with these pagers.
Well, you got to do something to the battery, obviously. That's the thing.
If the heat, I think it's if it reaches some temperature of heat,
right.
It will just naturally explode. So they're like hacking it to presumably make it, the just like run super hot until it just explodes.
Right.
So interesting. Okay. Terrible. But based also. Terrible for what it means for us, but yeah, fuck those people. I don't care about them.
Yeah.
Majin for $5 says, Sitch, enough. Your unwillingness to challenge or criticize Trump shows your bias. Why won't you get out of your echo chamber? Hi, Adam. I don't know what that was.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, yeah, here you go. My unwillingness to challenge or criticize Trump. Very true. Thank you, Majin. Yes. Nobody tell Hutch. Sketch for $5 says, there's a much better and funnier clip recirculating of a woman on MSNBC in June 2023 accidentally saying Trump needs to be shot and not stopped.
Oh, really?
I don't think I saw that clip. Let's see.
That's what they all want.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
I try to Google it. I'm not gonna find it because.
Has Kamala had another interview yet that we could?
No.
We can
no,
check
I don't
out?
think. I don't think she's gonna. I wouldn't be that surprised if she doesn't have an interview until the election.
Terrible.
Like at all. I wouldn't even be surprised.
No, she's got to. She needs daily interviews. That's what Hutch said, remember?
He acknowledges it, yeah. Well, it's interesting. I don't know if you saw, like, there was one poll that showed Kamala up by, like, 6 points. And then Nate Silver was like, no, like, his polling was like, Kamala's going to lose.
Yeah, Nate
So,
Silver had Trump winning the popular vote,
yeah, which is
which was
interesting.
like, oh wow.
Yeah. And then because there was some idea that like that Kamala Harris could win Florida, which
Get
I
out of here.
yeah, they're like, well, you have legalized pot on the ballot, you have abortion on the ballot. And I'm like, okay, that's all good, but I would be super fucking shocked if Kamala Harris was able to win Florida. So
Yeah, she's just a mystery. It's bizarre to me because it's starting to look like Trump is just the more conservative choice because he's been president before.
right.
Yeah. It's like this mixed bag over here where you kind of know what you're getting versus this complete unknown over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a deal. It's a let's make a deal, right? Look, you already have this really shitty dirt bike that nobody wants.
Mm-hmm.
And look, you have door number 1 over here. What do you think? Which do you want?
Okay, let me read this. This is interesting. It's 11 points. Nate Silver, 11 quick thoughts on the state of the race. Number 1, Harris is pretty clearly getting a bounce in national polls. She's now up by 2.9 points, and our polling average is compared to 2.2 points on the day of the debate. Arguably, this is even a little conservative. Among the most recent polls that conducted some interviews on Sunday or Monday, Harris has a larger lead, 4.6 points. So it's possible that Harris is benefiting not just from the debate, but also from the favorable news coverage that bought her, which wouldn't be surprising really at all. However, these are a favorable set of polls for Harris. They have a Democrat-leaning House effect, and the model is generally pretty smart about how it weighs recency versus other factors, so I wouldn't get carried away with this. Number 3, it's also worth keeping in mind that the election isn't being held today. The headline of the weekend was another assassination attempt against Donald Trump. This one didn't get very far, fortunately. I don't want to speculate about its impact on the polls, if any, but the news cycle can turn over quickly. And the fundamentals of the race still probably favor Donald Trump. Number 4, we're really lacking high quality state polls. And to the extent there have been some that have been more mixed for Harris, you got a high quality poll showing her ahead by 3 points in Pennsylvania. That would be very important, for instance, but another one showing her behind 2 points there. Oh, that's also, yeah. A lot of people were saying that they think that Pennsylvania may be the state that decides the election this year. So, and if it is, it really may Kamala look like a total dumbfuck for not choosing Josh Shapiro. I'm going with Coach Walls instead.
Oh yeah. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Oh, that would suck.
It'd be pretty funny.
That's why everyone's going crazy over fracking because I guess they do a lot of fracking in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania,
so,
yeah. It's interesting because you remember when like fracking first came about and you had that guy that made that like documentary about how fracking was like making everyone's water light on fire
totally.
and giving
I
everyone
do.
cancer, doing all these like horrible things. And it's like, okay, it's been like 15, 20 years. I haven't really heard any of those. Oh, and causing earthquakes too. I haven't really heard any stories about that. Like that, all those stories have completely fallen out of the news, which I don't know if it's true, but it makes me think that they weren't real in the first place.
That documentary was totally fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called like Gas Country or Gas Nation or something. Because there's a lot of recent state data, the model's still relying, because there's not a lot of state data, the model's still relying heavily on pre-debate state polls. In some cases, including pollings that were conducted shortly after the DNC. In our forecast, these polls were subject to our much disputed convention bounce adjustment. So this is still having some effect on the November 5th projection. It's also worth remembering the cohort polls for Harris were getting just before the debate were generally pretty mediocre for her. Trump was gaining on her in most swing states, even without applying the convention bounce adjustment. Well, I mean, it would make sense that she would get some bounce, even if it's a small bounce from the debate and the favorable coverage of it. The question is, and this is what we talked about. I said, I could definitely see Harris getting a bump from the debate, a bump from all the positive coverage, but I'd be shocked if that bump was maintained. That like it can't be maintained until November if she doesn't do anything, right?
Of course, yeah. People, like a lot of people don't know enough about her to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not buying the media spectacle over how great she is. All the hype. They're like, well, if she's so great, let's take a look at her.
Right. And I guess the last thing I read from his list is that he says that there's now almost a 25% chance that Harris wins the popular vote while losing the electoral college, and only a 2% chance, a 0.2% chance of the other way around. So
it's going to be pretty hilarious if that out of context clip that they clipped me on turns out to be completely accurate. That Harris loses because nobody knows enough about her.
I think that's very possible. That's very possible. So
Yeah. Well, I literally said, look, it's over. Nobody
uh,
knows anything about her. And if we go all the way to the election, nobody knows anything about her. She's not going to win.
right.
Yeah.
Artemis Fowl for $10 says, you're complaining about Republicans showing Democrat hypocrisy when Democrats claim the Republicans' joke and statements are fascist or threatening. You're imagining a Republican that doesn't exist. Wait. You're complaining about Republicans showing Democrat hypocrisy. Democrats complain the Republican joke statements are. What are you talking about? I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, because there's all sort. I mean, social media has been flooded with people on the right talking about how horrible it is that Democrats are joking or making these statements that could lead to political violence. We just watched that video that literally said that. Do you understand? Is there something?
Democrat hypocrisy when Democrats claim that Republican jokes or statements are fascist. Look, they do. Republicans do make jokes all the time that are taken out of context to claim they're being fascist, racist, whatever. So
Wait. I'm not saying the Republicans are showing Democratic hypocrisy. I'm saying they are seeming to go against their brand, because usually it's Democrats complaining about Republicans saying something that they say, oh, how dare you say this thing? This is going to cause violence or problems. I mean, we just saw it with the Trump eating pets thing, and the Democrats saying, oh, that's going to cause violence against Haitians. That's why, there was this thing about these bomb threats that were called in, even though.
Well, that wasn't a joke, but
right. I know, but I'm just saying it's like a statement, right? That they're saying is going to cause violence.
Sure. But the Kamala Harris thing in the beginning of the ad was literally a joke.
Right.
In the same way a Republican might make a joke about immigrants. And the Democrats would try to pin that as racism. You committed a racism. Oh shit, you're a fucking racist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how you as a Republican pointing to Kamala Harris, who's making an obvious joke, saying, oh my God, you're raising the temperature. You really want people to kill Donald Trump. I mean, it's the same exact thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I guess, yeah, just to be clear. So I guess the holdup argument is, I'm not saying Republicans are being hypocritical the way Democrats are being hypocritical. I'm saying they're basically acting the way Democrats are, and thus I don't think that off-brand behavior is going to be effective for them. And it comes off hypocritical because, like, well, you're acting like the way the other side acts.
Look,
which you complain about.
There are plenty of places where I see Republicans legitimately being racist, and I see Democrats legitimately calling for like assassination, right?
Right.
My thing is, if you do an ad where you do all of those real claims, then
it should be,
it's hard hitting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Gallus James, thank you so much for 29 months, says S-Class is the best class. Thank you, Gallus.
Look at that.
J Mac Arsegafar, thanks so much for the $50. Says the issue is more about the delivery. A more effective strategy would be showing Democrats poo-pooing Republicans and Trump as having dangerous rhetoric than showing these clips. It's hard not to see any hypocrisy. I don't think it's that bad as an ad. Well, I think if they framed it the way you're saying, if they framed it with Democrats saying Republicans are such a threat, and then you show Democrats saying all these things, then that changes the entire context of the ad.
Yeah,
because then the context of the ad is
hypocrisy.
Yeah, right. Then the context of the ad is Democrats are hypocrites, and boom, then I agree with you. Then you have something going. But the ad is not. The ad is like not framed like that. The ad is framed as Democrats are the ones that are so violent and spooky. Here's all the clips of them being violent and spooky. So that doesn't work.
I know why they picked the clip of Kamala laughing, because it's kind of They want to make the argument that this is violent rhetoric and she's just laughing about it maniacally.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she's laughing about it because it was an obvious joke. Not the best joke you could make.
Right.
Because she kind of flubbed the punchline. But
Kamala does this thing where she's nervous, and so she'll say something that's like supposed to be funny.
Right.
And I guess either she's just doing a nervous laugh, or she feels like if she laughs, it is a signal to the audience to laugh with her. Maybe. So
no, it doesn't work.
It doesn't look good, obviously, either way, but
she should not laugh.
No. Alex Wright for $10 says President Trump said it best, quote, because of this communist left rhetoric, the bullets are flying and only get worse. An example of the great unifier toning down his rhetoric. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the issue. That's exactly the problem. Right. So.
Right.
Righteous indifference for $2 says leftist extremism equals assassination plus self-immolation. Yeah. Like that guy. Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
I don't want to remember his name.
Right.
Terribly sad story.
Tommy Simonson for 100 DK dollars says, thank you. Says Afghanistan was sort of a left-wing war. Most of the countries joining us there sold to the public as getting women in Afghanistan educated and freedom from the Taliban. So when you have a war, obviously you can sell it to one side or the other. I would not categorize Afghanistan as a quote left-wing war. Afghanistan was, it seemed like most people were in favor of it in the first place, just as like retribution for 9/11. So I don't know if like actually getting into Afghanistan should be perceived as a left or right-wing action philosophically in the first place. But then both sides respectively go to their side and they sell it the way they want to sell it. So the right, the Republicans in 2001 sell it like we need to stop these terrorists before they attack us, and then the left sells it to their side saying, we need to attack these people so that we can bring, freedom and equality to their people,
which is why Afghanistan had so much public support, because when both sides have a reason to sell it to their side, then everyone's in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you can like in almost every situation, you can frame it so that it appeals to both sides. The question is, are you going to have the political will behind the politicians and the media to actually push that narrative in the first place? So
right, yeah, and look, I think a lot of the Ukraine situation is drowning in literal Russian propaganda, because I do think Putin is behind a lot of the popular narratives that you see coming out. The Ukraine coup narrative, like all that stuff, straight out of Moscow.
Yeah, it is very interesting to see how, and I don't know if anyone's tracked it, to see the origin of these claims, to see how so many of these like America bad left-wing claims, were started by like the gray zone socialist, and then they somehow get picked up by people on the right who are like, advocating for the right-wing isolationist take.
Well, look,
so they kind of align.
Just the comparison is interesting here, because Afghanistan, what kind of countermeasures can Afghanistan do in the information space? Like nothing,
none. Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yeah, none.
That's a good point. Point. Yeah.
But look, Putin has lots of options, and I think that we're seeing those options play out in our politics.
Yeah, exactly. But there was an interview, I haven't watched it yet, I want to listen to it, which is Dave Smith talking to Martyr
I
Maid,
know. Yeah.
The guy that was talking to Tucker Carlson. And it's so fascinating because you have Dave Smith, who is supposed to be libertarian, right? That's supposed to be.
Isn't he Jewish too?
I don't know if he's Jewish or not.
I think
Smith
he is.
Smith is not a Jewish last name at all.
Oh, it isn't?
But
no,
Dave,
he came on our show and I swear he said he was Jewish.
He might have, I don't remember. I would bet he's atheist, but I don't remember what he's at now.
No, I think he's religious and I think he's Jewish, which is just, it's weird because we're talking about the Nazi propaganda guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're both looking. Dave Smith, Jewish.
Yeah, let's see. Does it show up on Wikipedia or something?
He is Jewish.
Oh, he is. Wow, look at that. Okay.
And
Smith,
he has stated that he
is
a grandchild of a Holocaust survivor.
Wow. Okay, so he's Jewish. That's weird. Smith is really not a Jewish last name at all.
Look at you. Why are you judging?
I'm done. I'm
Look,
just saying.
Maybe he
Unless his
changed it to
mom,
Smith because he loves Adam Smith. He is a libertarian, right?
well, it could be that his mom was Jewish and she was married to someone who's not Jewish, so she got,
Oh, yeah.
the husband's name or something. I don't know. It's possible, but
Might be a stage name because he is a comedian.
true. It usually would say that in the little bio if he has stage name, but anyway, okay. So yeah, I guess that is another interesting element to it. But so you have Dave Smith, who's a libertarian and Jewish, but he's a libertarian, and he's talking to this Martyr Maid guy, and this guy, he's very anti-democracy. I saw someone had like a bunch of his past tweets, and he was very, very anti-democracy. He thinks democracy is like trash. He thinks, a lot of people having the power to vote is trash. And it's so fucking weird and interesting to see someone who's libertarian is like so on board with someone who should be completely against them ideologically on every front imaginable. Right? Someone who wants a elite group of people, whether they be royalty, whether they be, big-brained fascistic thinkers or something, to kind of control the country, to rule the country. And you have a libertarian is like on board with this guy. I mean, that just seems very strange.
Yeah. I never watched the original conversation that he had with Tucker Carlson. That stuff just, drives me crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's annoying because it's like a weird, it all reeks of a socialist demotivation campaign, because there's nothing wrong with saying like, okay, let's investigate World War II. Let's investigate kind of quote the mainstream narrative of history to see if it, lines up with reality. There's nothing essentially wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with questioning that. It's just that whenever people do that, you always have to say, okay, well, what is their motivation for doing that? Are they just interested in the truth, or do they have some deeper motivation? And unfortunately, like 9 times out of 10, people that are engaged in these sorts of processes, they're not just motivated by quote the truth. They have some deeper motivation. And it seems like Martyr Maid, and it seems like most of his support, when you like look at the comments on Twitter, are people who buy into this concept that America is evil, that the West is evil, that capitalism, that Western democracies are evil, that capitalism is evil. And they're kind of on board with some kind of weird, I don't know if it's fascistic or neo-monarchical, form of government that they want to advocate for. And then they kind of play this hide the ball game shit when you get called out on it, because they all know, just like the communists know, like back, 10, 20 years ago, that if you label them communists, people would immediately dismiss their opinion. So they kind of have to hide the rhetoric until you get like deeper in the rabbit hole.
Hide their power level.
Right, exactly. J-Mac, our Gafar, thanks so much for the $20. Says, I'm also dying from gastrointestinal pain. Oh my God, I'm sorry to hear that. Pray to the gods I make a full recovery. Haven't had a solid bowel movement since Sunday, and I can't keep anything down. Lend me your strength. Whoa, what's going on? Have you gone to the doctor or the hospital or something? That sounds like too severe to be food poisoning. Like, it sounds like food poisoning, but it's been going on for like more than 24 hours. So that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone, let's get that Sitch and Adam show, will of the universe, will of God going, and we're going to send the almighty healing power, the free will. We're going to send it. We're all going to hold up our hands. We're going to cast the spirit bomb of healing energy to our surrogate father, Daddy J-Mac. Everyone in the chat, raise your hands up in the air. Give your healing power to the universe and say, universe, God bless J-Mac, our surrogate father, with healing energy so he may be healed, so he may take a good shit, so he may be able to eat a good meal.
Nice. No speaking in tongues?
Okay. Gene the Angry Penguin for 23 months.
Oh, the okay was perfect. The okay was perfect.
There you
go. Okay. After you speak in tongues, just all business.
What's what you're supposed to do? You speak in tongues, and you move on, right?
Yeah. I'm listening to that Glenn Lowry book, which is just so fucking. Did you know Glenn Lowry was a crack addict?
I believe you've mentioned this on the stream before, yeah.
And he gets into the church after he gets his life back together, and it's one of those speaking in tongues type churches.
Oh, Jesus.
And he tells a scene where everyone is like looking at him, kind of like they start speaking in tongues, and he's like,
They're like, "Are you gonna join?" He's like, "I was fucking crazy."
yeah, totally. He has that
Hilarious.
attitude, and he's
Yeah.
like, okay, he feels the social pressure, so he does a little speaking in tongues. Did you know Glenn Lowry has spoken in tongues?
That's hilarious.
He totally regretted it, but
It's interesting because it's like I feel like so much of that speaking in tongues, those sorts of weird evangelical like
rituals, yeah,
rituals, like they feel and seem to an outside observer to be very obviously performative.
yeah.
And it's interesting because yeah, it's like this social pressure to engage in this action that like you're like, how many people, like, does everyone know this is kind of like nonsense, or
I
what's
don't think
going
it's
on here?
performative for everyone, though. I think maybe it starts out performative for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can never say everyone because there are those people out there. But like if you do something like that enough, I mean, it kind of becomes real for you.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a weird, it's like a meditative ritual, I guess. Like you just do you do an action again and again and again, and it's going to, with an intention, maybe elicits whatever the intention is. And the action, like speaking in tongues, is merely a mechanism to get you into the state of mind. But I think the difference is it's not really described that way. It seems like it's supposed to be described like, no, you are literally speaking in tongues because, God or an angel is speaking through you. Which is weird because generally, like when I think of speaking in tongues, doesn't it seem like that's something more like evil? Doesn't seem like it's a good thing. It seems like a demonic thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I always see that in like The Exorcist and stuff, right?
right.
So look, the Independent right here. Oh,
Mhm.
I guess, yeah, no, I'll wait for this. Go ahead.
What?
Well, just the chat is like reeing that I said the Trump shooter had an AK-47.
Oh
when
yeah,
it is widely reported in the news. I have right here the Independent. The headline is armed with an AK-47, filming with a GoPro, fleeing in a Nissan. So look, if I got it wrong, it's because the media got it wrong.
Right.
But is it like, is that the most important part of the story? What kind of gun?
If you like guns, it's a very important part of the story. If
right.
you don't care about guns, then you don't care.
I fucking love guns. Are you kidding me? Guns are amazing. I can't wait to mount.
Yeah, but you're not like a gun, like gun nerd. You don't know. I'm assuming you've never talked about, like, a bunch of stuff.
Well, this is more like, I feel like this is more like a media nerd because you had to read like 25 different stories on this situation to get that, where's the correction that it was an SK?
SKS, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway,
yeah,
look,
Blaine's escape corner even DM'd me. He's like, it was an SKS, which isn't an AK-47.
Yes, but look, I'm innocent. Like
Okay.
the media reported widely that it was an AK-47. So
that is true. You didn't just pull out of the ether.
yeah, exactly. They didn't widely report that it's an SKS, and Adam is like a dumbass and didn't know the difference between an AK-47 and an SKS.
All right. I'll read what Blaine said really quick. He said he was using SKS, originally designed by the Soviets. A lot of the ones we get in the States were made in Asian countries and ex-Soviet countries, which would include Romania, Poland, and Yugoslavia. They're cheap and easy to find, while being good enough for most sporting uses. Regarding the AK-47 take, the AK-style rifle is made all over the world because it's just bent sheet metal. Many we have in the States are from Poland and Romania. They are incredibly reliable, and while they used to be less accurate due to the stamped metal, modern manufacturing has made them more accurate than the hands holding them. So there you go.
It's funny because I brought up that it was an AK-47 because obviously he hates Russians' guts and wants to nuke the hell
that
out
was
of
the
them.
point.
Right,
Yeah, exactly.
But the SKS is evidently a Russian gun too. So,
well, yeah, but there's a difference between saying, like, if something was designed by Soviets but then not made, like, doesn't mean it was made in the Soviet Union, or it made in Russia today. So I guess that's what the point of it. But yes, the SKS was originally designed in Russia.
I brought up a picture of it too, just to show it off. I mean, it's nice looking. I mean, it looks very old-timey.
Do we have an official word on what it is? Or people just judging by this, like, really shitty picture?
Oh, I don't know.
I guess. I mean,
I never saw a picture of the actual weapon.
There's a picture of the weapon and his backpack, like on the fence. I guess the
Okay.
police or someone took a picture of, but it's hard to see, like because of the lighting, it just looks like a black blob gun. Like you can't. I mean, I guess if you know a lot about guns, maybe you could identify it from the blob. But
I should bring up the Independent article because that's got to be frustrating. Like they mislabel the rifle in the picture. Oh man, triggering. Anyway, I'm just playing around.
Anyway, yeah,
it's all fun.
Okay. Gene Payment for 23 months says, I'm going to use my milestone chat to wish J-Mac a healthy and robust shit. Well, look, there you go.
Look at that. That's what it's called. That's the Sitch and Adam community right there.
Right.
Paying it forward.
Plains Escape Corner for $5 says, corrected Adam. Oh, this is what I just read. Corrected Adam's AK comments and X's DMs to Sitch due to YouTube's word and supers. Not that it matters since it wasn't an AK. There you go. So it doesn't even matter.
Right. Just correct. You corrected the independents. Bad reporting. So.
James Hay for £5 says the finite supply of Bitcoin, its security independence from government is inherent value and purpose. It's literally a digital version of gold.
That's the hype. Yeah. Remember we distinguished the hype from actual product and service, something that exists in the real world.
Well, it's again, it's the idea. I always said it's originally supposed to be an idea. I don't think it exists really as a currency though. So I'm not sure how much that idea is an accurate reflection of reality at this point when we're talking about Bitcoin.
You know what else is finite? Cancer.
I thought you were going to say farts.
No.
Farts are finite.
Damn it. Every once in a while that thing pops up. Now you guys can actually see me where I accidentally hit the remove or I hit the put the person in timeout.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you accidentally put someone in timeout?
No, but I've done it before where I've like deleted the super because this fucking window pops up and like, how do you stop it?
Right.
Anyway. Look, James, I hope if you're way up on Bitcoin, don't get too greedy, okay?
Okay, that's true. Don't get greedy.
As soon as it's like, I guess there are constantly Bitcoin crashes. The reason that I don't think Bitcoin ultimately goes to zero is because you have a bunch of people who've gotten rich off of Bitcoin. Like they were early adopters. They ended up selling enough that they're already out. They probably still have a lot of Bitcoin that's worth a lot of money, but if Bitcoin starts cratering, they're going to be buying and not selling. So as long as you've got that ecosystem, I don't think Bitcoin will go to zero. But the price of Bitcoin is based solely on the fact that people think they can sell it for more money in the future.
PC for 24 months. Thanks so much for being 2 years of discipline equals freedom.
Woo! Look at that. Gold pyramid.
Says, quote, in the short run, the market is a voting machine, but in the long run, it's a weighing machine. End quote. The variable here is the time frame.
Beautifully put. Beautifully
I like
put.
that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Gene Aaron Payment $5 says, Sitch, stocks can be disconnected from the actual value of the company and theoretically maintain its value on memes alone. True. That is what I was trying to say. Thank you for summarizing.
Not forever, though, because sooner or later, that company's going to go bankrupt and get delisted from the stock exchange.
Well, if it goes bankrupt, yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to. Fat Boy for $20. Thanks so much. Says it wasn't an AK-47. It was an SKS, still a Russian gun, but they're very common. I guess he had also gotten caught with a machine gun once, so he's a felon. Well, there you go.
Where do I get a machine gun? I want to mount one on my Mustang.
I thought, my understanding, I could be wrong. I thought you could buy fully automatic weapons. It's just like very difficult. Like there's just a lot more strenuous process to go through to get it. So, but they're not like illegal for everyone. Obviously, if you had it without like the proper permits or checks or whatever, then that would be the issue.
If I mounted a big old machine gun out of the back of my 1967 Ford Mustang convertible, do you think that would get me a lot of attention?
I don't think that's legal. Probably not
What if
legal
it's
to drive
just
around your city with a fucking machine gun turret on the back of your
well,
car.
no, maybe nobody's. I mean, if no one's manning it, I mean, if it's just like
It's just there. No, it's not being officer. There's no one manning the gun. Okay.
look, it could be like a movie prop or something. Who
Okay.
knows?
Okay.
Is this
Isn't there
possible?
isn't there a lot of even to have like movie props in public where you're running around with fake guns? Don't you have to get a bunch of permits to do that?
Probably so. I mean,
I
I've
feel
only
like,
ever worked on independent movies where we're always trying to skirt the permits.
of
So,
course, you're doing everything quote illegally. Yeah.
yeah.
So, well, I guess not quote. You literally are, but
I have had actors like email me years later claiming that they were traumatized by using real guns.
that they were filming something that you were involved with, and they used a real gun
Yeah.
in like the
Yes.
filming process, and it traumatized them.
Yes. Yeah.
Why? They didn't do an Alec
Literally,
Baldwin or
like
something.
nothing happened. Like the
Right.
guy. Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
guess I mean, having a real gun pointing at you can be traumatic, I think.
But in the context of like, if you're doing it on a set and you're like, well, first of all, if I was doing it on an independent set, right, I'd be like, give me that gun. I'm gonna make sure it's empty before you point it at me, right?
Of course.
If I was
Yeah.
filming some fucking like independent set, I would do that. But
We always do that. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Nolan Gams for 11 months. Thanks so much. Says in regards to KH housing, if zoning law, Kamala Harris, if zoning laws are not addressed, won't new houses be built in low demand areas? A lot of places are zoned for single family homes. Yes. Well, that's part of the issue is like, you want to know how exactly she intends to get this housing done. Because you're going to have to, she basically would have to, which is possible. She's going to have to strong arm local city governments and state governments into laxing regulations that allow more housing to be built in these high demand areas, or to do something to break up these monopolies that cause the holdup.
Yeah. And this is where the wisdom of crowds come in.
Right.
People can decide, oh, is that going to work or not work? But if we don't even know what the plan is, how do we weigh in?
Mm-hmm. Orca, thanks so much for joining the free will seekers. Thank you.
Welcome.
M8566 for $5 says, Sitch, look up discounted cash flow, dividend discount model, and the comparables approach. Do you really think mutual funds operate off of vibes? To be clear, I don't think any stock investment offer is operated solely off vibes. So that's not really what I was saying. But RBGH
well, I mean,
fam.
You're saying the psychology is you literally call it the primary factor.
It is the primary factor, right? But that doesn't mean it's a vibe. It's based off of something that's supposed to be. It's based off of. They look at like we were talking about price, earnings,
right? But people do think they're investing. Like a lot of people do comb over quarterly earnings reports and only buy, like value investors are not buying based on vibes. They're buying based on what the company's worth.
Right.
I mean, there's autistic people that even go through, here's how many assets they own and value all those assets. And they're like, even if they went bankrupt, they could sell all of these assets for that stock price.
Mm-hmm. I understand
that's not vibes, right?
When I say something is okay, I guess there's a miscommunication here. When I say something's based off psychology, that doesn't mean vibes.
Right.
It means it's based off someone's thought process on something. Someone's thought process can be based off of, let me look and read into business reports, earning sheets, all this stuff to figure out what company I think is going to continue to do well in the future. Right.
Right.
The psychology is saying, okay, everyone agreeing psychologically to say, depending on how this company does is how the stock price is going to be valued. Right? That's the psychological aspect of it.
Right. But once that you're either right or wrong in that determination.
Okay.
It's
maybe
no
this
longer
is
psychology.
Maybe this is the easy way to talk about it. If you pick up a pen and then you let go of it, what's going to happen?
It's going to fall to the floor.
Right. Does it matter if everyone in the world thinks it's not going to fall to the floor? Is it going to not fall to the floor?
No.
Okay, exactly. So that's not based on psychology. That's based on some physical principle, right?
Right.
If everyone in the entire world thinks that Amazon stock is going to go up, 100 points in the next year, so everyone starts buying it, it's based on the psychology. Even if it does, like, it's going to go up because everyone thinks it's going to go up. And if it never goes back down, it doesn't matter, right? It's the
But
psychology that's creating the effect.
the thing though is Amazon is either going to continue to make products that are valuable and earn money, or it's not, and it's going to get delisted from the stock exchange, and everyone's going to lose their money. So there's two outcomes there, just like in the pen situation. So the people who are betting that it's going to go to the moon, and the people who are, obviously some people short, they're betting it's going to go out of business. One of those people is going to be right.
In terms of there is a hard and fast rule of the stock market that would be the equivalent of when you let go of the pen and drops. That's if the company goes bankrupt, it will be delisted. That is true. But there's a lot of ground between going bankrupt and doing well or not.
I mean, there's doing moderately.
Like Amazon could do not great for many, 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 many years before it becomes bankrupt and gets delisted, right?
Sure, yes. And usually that's reflected in the stock price.
Right, because people
the stock price
decided
does
to use that as a metric, okay?
Right.
I'm just saying it's not a physical rule like when you drop the pen, gravity is going to pull to the ground. Doesn't matter what you or I think about it, the pen is going to drop, right?
Right.
With the stock market, that's not the case. Anyway.
Well, you dropping the pen is the catalyst.
Well, I mean, the gravity is always pulling on stuff, and then I'm kind of fighting against it by holding the pen in the air. So,
right.
RBGH fan for $5 says, Adam, what differentiates crypto from fiat currency?
The fact that artificial demand is created with fiat currency by governments taking it for taxation. So everyone needs fiat currency to pay their taxes, and that generates demand. Crypto, the only thing that generates demand is people believe it's going to be worth more in the future.
Right.
Yeah. So the fiat currency, like the demand generation device, taxes. I mean, they say it's death and taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is never going to go away. So the fiat currency is always going to be worth something. Where the crypto, the demand could dry up. Everyone could decide, oh, this crypto is cancer.
Right.
And
That's
I
why
don't care. I don't want cancer.
We had a conversation with someone years ago. I don't remember what their name was. Because there was people were trying to advocate for the US government to allow people to pay taxes with crypto.
In crypto, yeah.
And we both said that will never, ever, ever happen because the value of the US dollar is strictly tied into that you have to pay taxes to the government. That's kind of what gives the money value in the first place. So they would never give that up for crypto. It'd be retarded. So
of course, yeah. But it is weird that Trump is like, I got a crypto, you can pay your tax. One of Trump's proposals was being able to pay your taxes in Bitcoin.
Right. Now, I would believe Trump doesn't know or care enough about any of this that he would advocate for such a policy. But
right. Well, look, if the government can take your Bitcoin and turn around and sell it to somebody else and then take their dollars as taxation, it's not really that big a deal, but
it is a big deal. They would never give up their monopoly on the value of the dollar.
They would never they would never tax solely in Bitcoin.
I don't even think I think they would. Maybe Donald Trump would try to push for this. I think there'd be so much pushback that he would never have done it. I think there's no potential for this.
They would just say, you sell your Bitcoin and pay your taxes in USD. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They said, we'll sell your Bitcoin and pay us taxes. Why are we going to accept this directly? So.
Yeah.
Cyberhunk returns for $2 says the blockchain ledger and scarcity are Bitcoin's values.
Look, I know I'm very familiar with the hype. Okay. I'm very, very, very familiar with the hype. Well, this is a little why, I think it's better for people to make the distinction because I mean, I do. I don't. This is not a safe investment,
Mm-hmm.
and you are kind of giving the vibe that the stock market is not a safe investment. When look, there are lots of crazy, like, people lose money in the stock market all the time because they do stupid shit. They buy
Mm-hmm.
options on some fucking Chinese company nobody's ever heard of, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you kind of can't go wrong buying the S&P 500. Like, you're buying basically a piece of 500 companies. Like, those companies change over time and they rebalance the thing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it is a very, very safe investment. Crypto's not a safe investment.
Lethal Strain for $2 says, I know pagers are used to make IEDs. Really? Wow.
Well, they're
Like a
like the
timer
device.
or
Yeah.
something? Yeah. Oh, because they
You
page
page.
they page
Yeah.
it to set it off. But I'm assuming that it's just like that's a trigger that triggers something else, not that they trigger the battery to explode, which causes a larger explosion. I could be wrong, but I never thought that's how it would work. But
Right.
maybe. Cameraman 502 for $2 says pagers don't send return signals and have no GPS. Oh, well, wouldn't that only be true if it was not a two-way pager? Because like if you had a page and then you text back on your pager, wouldn't I mean that would necessarily send the return signal, wouldn't it? I mean, like I guess you just receiving it alone, yeah, there would not be a return signal. So no one could track your location from you just receiving the message, right?
Oh, wow.
So that does, but that is interesting. I guess that would make sense why they would want to use it.
How do they know where to send the signal?
I don't know enough about the technology of how that works, but that's a good point. Luso for $2 says, "Good afternoon, good afternoon, Luth. What's
Yeah,
up?"
good. What's up?
Sketch for $2 says, "Sitch, check your DMs. I sent you the MSNBC clip." Yeah, I saw it. I sent it to Adam if you want to bring it up. It's like 20
Oh,
seconds.
okay.
So, Ostracy for $10 says, "I just started listening and holy crap, so far every one of Sitch's points is terrible. Both sides and straw man everywhere." Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, Ostracy, but thank you for the $10.
What was
Uh,
that about, though?
it
Ostrich, you got to at least throw in what it's about.
it was about the Republicans complaining about the Democrats,
How do you know it wasn't about the crypto?
attacks on violence. We said just start listening. That's what we were talking about at the beginning. So,
Oh, okay.
Lucio for $5 says, "Are we really back to blaming the media? People are crazy on all sides." That is true. Midas Matthews for 18 months says, "The difference between stocks and crypto is the public markets could close and the profit of the company still belongs to you." Well, they have to. I don't know if I'd say the profits of the company belong to you. I mean, they can't. I don't
Well,
believe
in
legally.
bankruptcy, they figure out how much the shareholder. Well, actually, I think the shareholders get wiped out. The bondholders get some compensation.
Right. Okay. I mean, I don't know if legally they can't just do whatever the fuck they want. Say, like, if you bought stock in a company, I don't think legally they can just say, eat shit, we're stealing your stock away from you or something. But, Metal Rules 81 for $5 says, "What are the odds that my mom's first name is Kamala and her birthday is January 6th? Now that's the simulation winking at you."
That's pretty crazy.
The Rooster $5 says, "Can't wait for this one to be memory hold once again. How long will that take? Any bets?" This one will go away. I would assume this one will go away much quicker than the first one because it was much less visually
Public, yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
So, you don't have the picture. You already have, Trump didn't actually get shot, all that stuff. So it
They were
still is crazy that the Secret Service has essentially been hiding because it's taken so like there's no way an actual real report on why they fucked up would take this long. So obviously the Secret Service is completely hiding, is covering up for the complete ineptitude and incompetence of whoever was involved with doing the really shitty job at protecting Donald Trump. So obviously that's all being completely covered up and trying to be hidden. Whether they will be successful that indefinitely or not, who knows? And it does seem like it's highly unlikely to me at this point that it's really taken the FBI this long. They still can't crack into this guy's those foreign accounts, those foreign messaging services that they were talking about.
They did a bunch of conspiracy theories when Trump was shot at and a million cameras were on him. Like, this is so much easier to just memory hole.
Well, it's weird because on one hand, it's easier because it's not as like exciting, so people probably won't care about as much. But on the other hand, it's so much more open because unlike Crooks, this guy has like a book that he published.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that says all of his thoughts. Right. And he had a social media account that had his thoughts on it. Like so we already know like a lot of information about it. From that end, since the Secret Service was able to thwart it, they won't necessarily cover up any information about it because they'll say, hey, we did a good job. We stopped someone from shooting at the president or the ex-president. So
Republican psyop.
Right.
That's what people are going to say. Okay, I got the clip up.
Okay.
Democrats are evil. Let's see what this happens. Are you ready?
Yeah, this is what the fuck. Top Harris surrogate Representative Plaskett told MSNBC Trump needs to be shot.
Oh, wow. Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Having Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans, and he needs to be stopped. Having Trump not only have had...
That's funny.
That is pretty funny.
That was from June of last year. So there you go.
Oh man,
making a little resurgence here. It sounds like was she talking about the sounds like she's talking about the classified documents at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
What the case has already been dismissed, right? That one's dead.
I think they're working on it. I don't think it's gone completely.
Again? Oh, okay.
Well, there was something specific. I don't remember. There's something specific about it. Anyway, we'll see. I'm skeptical that would go away forever. Mr. Ricard, thanks so much for the $10. Says I'm late, but GME has over $4.2 billion in cash on hand, no debt, registered themselves to be a holding company, and the CEO has a record of being a great investor. It might be a smart investment, just risky. I was talking about GameStop.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. So, look, they sold a bunch of their own stock.
Right.
They're like, we're cashing in now, but ultimately, this CEO knows that he still has to play by the rules of Wall Street. Like, he has to turn a profit. He has to produce quarterly reports. So, yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Look, he's like, okay, we'll just become a holding company.
Right.
We're basically like Berkshire Hathaway now.
Mm-hmm.
What if he becomes as big as Berkshire Hathaway? I think, Sitch, for my birthday, you should get me 1 share of Berkshire Hathaway. What do you say?
1 share.
Just 1 share.
Is that the one that's like 20 grand or something?
I only want 1
40
Look,
grand?
it's only 1 share of stock.
That's the one that's like never split, right? That's the Warren Buffett stock or something,
yeah.
right? Yeah. How much?
Berkshire
Let's see, what's that at?
Hathaway.
Only one. Wait, one of it's at $450. Isn't there one that's like?
That's the baby
more?
Berkshire. I don't want the baby. Get out of
Okay,
here.
what's the other one? I don't know why the price for the other one isn't showing up here when I googled it. Let's see. Oh, Class A. Can you? Oh my. Oh wait. Is this? Wait, this can't be right. It's $680,000.
It's BRK. Yeah, exactly.
BRKA. Jesus.
No, I don't want the A.
Oh, you don't want that. You don't want the $680,000 one.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, it's Class A, but
Class A. Yeah.
Yes, $685,000.
Jesus Christ.
What do you say?
What is the Wow. If you invested in this like a long time ago, Jesus. You really should invest it back in the 90s when it was only $4,000 a share.
So this is what Google claimed that they were going to do, but they never did. They were huge fans of Warren Buffett. He was basically bringing them under his tutelage. So this definitely dissuades day traders from like trading your stock, right?
Right.
Because it's like, I have to have $685,000 just to buy one share.
To buy one share, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
If you
gonna
ever have
do
a
it?
time machine, invest in Berkshire Hathaway Class A. All right.
Oh my
There you go.
goodness! Look, you should have bought in. Just instead of buying a house, why not just buy one share?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
During the pandemic, it was, oh my God, it was down to $257,000. Here, where's the
During the
look?
pandemic? Wow.
$250,000. Yeah, it was down to $250,000.
Okay.
So you basically doubled your money in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good investment.
Just buying on 2000, the year 2000, it was only worth 44,000.
So Berkshire Hathaway is a holding company. Basically, he buys other stocks. He's basically a value investor. So that's why a lot of the value investors I could hear cringing as you were saying, it's all psychology. the Berkshire, but look, this could be GameStop's future right here. They're like,
There you
okay.
go. Becoming Berkshire Hathaway 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. They should keep the name GameStop.
They should.
They should change it to Money Stop.
That's funny.
It's pretty hilarious, yeah. Thanks for the super chat.
Yeah.
Mr. Ubercross.
Fat Boy for $10 says you can own machine guns, but he didn't have the legal paperwork for it. And Adam, no, you couldn't do that. The rules regulating them would make that impossible. You should have to be FUD. You should have FUD busters on.
Oh. Mythbusters, maybe?
FUD busters? No, that's a YouTube channel. I'm not familiar with them, but he talks about gun stuff.
I have an old Mustang that's like all Mad Maxed out, so I want to do something cool with it.
You want to put a giant gun on it?
I was thinking about it. I was just in the back seat like a big turret. That'd be pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm. Where was I? Blind Skateboard for 2 hours says, Sitch, when you buy stock, where does the money go? It goes
Good question.
To whoever you bought the stock from.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it goes to if I sell you my stock, you give me the money and I give you the stock. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it goes when you're first buying, when they're first issuing shares, obviously then it goes to the company. But after that, it just goes to whoever you buy the stock from.
Basically functions like a currency, right?
No, it's not a currency. It's an asset. It's an asset you trade with.
But currency is an asset too.
I thought that all the economist guys get mad when you say that. Like, there's a special definition for currency that's different from a normal asset.
Yeah, money is usually the thing that they get upset about. So that's why I try to use the term currency. Because if people trade currency, there's a lot of arbitrage trades go on for currency.
Mm-hmm.
But look, you didn't get him. Blaine tried to get you, but he didn't do it.
I don't even understand what would be the get.
I don't know.
Where else would the money go?
Ask Blaine.
Lucio for $5
Blaine, what
says,
do you think he would say?
I have no clue. Lucio for $5 says, it's so hard to work and watch the show at the same time. How do people do it? That's right, because it's just so engaging. We just distract you.
What you do is you take time off. Okay.
Right.
Take like a month. Tell them you're gone spa. No,
there you go.
Don't do that. I'm only kidding. Look, I'm a workaholic. I love to work. So, but technically this is work for me. So.
Soldoge for 21 months says, a certain someone told me you guys have difficulty answering your phone, so I'm mailing a couple of pagers to help you both out. No, stop it. Don't do it. Terrible.
Is it a good pager? I'll use it.
Edward Sr. for $5 says, what are the odds of a third assassination attempt? I would say pretty high, I think.
Is that gambling?
Gambling on guessing on whether there's going to be another attempt?
Is this gambling or an investment?
Well, there's no money. Well, it'll be gambling if we bet on it, right?
I think, I guess it's
Add
interesting.
$1,000 on whether Trump will get a shot at again.
Well, no, I'm trying to think, when does gambling become an investment? And I'm thinking, well, obviously when the odds of winning go up dramatically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it really is an investment.
Is that the only difference? Is the odds?
Well, I don't know. This is the first time I really even thought about this, but like, yeah, if it's certain that another assassination attempt is in the cards, then obviously if you bet on it, that's an investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're putting money in the bank.
Here's what Investopedia says, okay?
Let's hear.
Investing versus gambling.
Oh,
How many times during a discussion about finances have you heard someone say that investing in the stock market is just like gambling at a casino? Investing and gambling certainly both involve risk and choice, specifically the risk of capital with hopes of future profit. But gambling is typically a short-lived activity, while equities investing can last a lifetime. Investing in the stock market typically carries with it a positive expected return on average over the long run. On the other hand, there's a negative expected return to gamblers on average and over the long run.
Yeah, because of the odds.
But is that the only difference? Is that just the odds in gambling are far riskier than investing?
Yeah, I think so. But look, high risk, high reward. That's why.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I was right.
There you go.
Even Investopedia agrees with me, and I just came to that conclusion on my own. That's how you know you have a good model of the world, Sitch.
There you go.
When you have that model and then you hear people talking, you're like, oh, that's the model playing out right there.
Right. But anyway, no, to go back to the thing, I think it's very likely someone will attempt on Trump again. I think it's kind of like, with the school shootings, it's like once someone sees one, it like puts the idea in people's heads to keep doing it.
Right.
And I feel like I could be wrong, but my guess would be each assassination attempt on Trump sort of reinforces another one down the road. I think it will probably get stopped. Like the security is going to keep increasing to essentially stop it before, they ever come to fruition. I don't think you're going to see another like Crook situation where he actually gets shot at or something. But I do think you'll see more people getting stopped by doing these, like planning something or potentially doing something.
It is funny that I always heard people say, oh, if Obama gets elected, he's going to get assassinated. And there wasn't even an assassination attempt. Now you got this other guy.
You keep saying remember? There was the guy who like ran, tried to run into the White House or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there was
it's so forgettable though, because I think, wasn't he like on a lawnmower or something and he was like rushing the fence?
He jumped the fence and like tried to run in. He actually literally made it, I think, into the White House. That's what everyone was like, what the fuck? How do you make it into he made it into the front lobby of the White House? And this was another thing that came up. It's funny because that was back when Obama was president, talked about DEI thing. I think if I recall correctly, I could be wrong because this was a while ago. This was years ago. I recall there was a complaint because the woman at the front, Secret Service, the person at the front who Secret Service was a woman, and I think she was unable to physically stop the person. So there's kind of opened that whole conversation about like, should women even be like in these roles in the first place because they can't physically stop, a man running, right?
Right.
So
they just get to call their coworker for help.
Or she just pulls out a gun and fucking shoots them.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of surprised they didn't do.
Yeah, why didn't you just shoot him?
If a crazy person is running into the White House at full speed and they got shot, would anyone be like, oh, you shouldn't have done that? It's like, well, you don't know. The guy could have like a bomb on him or something. Who the fuck knows, right?
Yeah, no, you should blow him away.
Blow him away. Oh, so here's an interesting thing. So, before we end here, the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire Twitter account?
Yeah, it's horrendous. I blocked him years ago.
Right. Like, it's like a unhinged person. I mean, the people that should be really mad at this individual is the Libertarian Party because it makes libertarians look like trash.
Many of them are. Many libertarians are like, I am not a libertarian anymore because of that stupid fucking Twitter account. Yeah.
But so someone tweeted something about the Kamala Harris, she talked about banning assault weapons. And then the Libertarian Party Twitter account retweeted this saying anyone who murders Kamala Harris would be an American hero. Which obviously that's a pretty spicy tweet. And then it was interesting because then we found out, I don't know if people knew who was behind the account before this, but then the person behind the account who also has another Twitter account named Jeremy Kaufman essentially, tweeted out kind of complaining that the FBI visited his house, to talk to him about his tweets. And he said, the FBI visited my house today for free speech acts. They were not crimes. This is the Democrat regime manifest. I'm like, that's obviously bullshit. I think everyone, Democrat, Republican, agrees that you shouldn't be calling for people to assassinate, presidential candidates, presidents, vice presidents, any of that nature. I think we all agree on
Inciting
that.
violence is against the
Right.
law. Yeah.
Right. So if people rightfully so should report people tweeting out things like anyone who, kills Trump is a hero, blah, 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 blah. Those people should all get knocks on their doors and should, all that stuff should be banned off Twitter. 100%.
Sick.
Yep.
Bunch of sickos.
I'm kind of surprised that account hasn't been like nuked off Twitter, but obviously the rules on Twitter
Well,
are very
Elon Musk follows him, so
weird. So,
oh, look at this. Don't do that to us. We actually could have ended the stream with your $50 super chat unread.
No way. Solos for 2 hours says, Adam, it's a pager. So good they call it the bomb. Like that. Mr. Middleman for 2 hours says, if he wins, I bet we'll see an attempt quarterly.
Oh, look. Oh, we still have super chat. I thought we were done with super chats.
No.
Interesting. Okay.
Lethal Strain for 2 hours says, Bush had a grenade thrown at him once as well. Really? Which Bush are we talking
No,
about
that was
here?
a shoe. Come on. We all saw it.
I don't think that's what he was talking about.
That's how we knew he had the cat-like reflexes.
He dodged the shoe. That's right.
He was fucking like ninja president.
That was pretty funny because when he dodged the shoe, he has this big smile on his face, like he thinks it's funny.
He's like, "What the fuck? I'm getting 3 shoes thrown at me."
From 2005, the man who confessed to throwing a live grenade at President Bush, so LW, during a rally in Georgia's capital, says he hoped to kill the U.S. leader. Wow, I don't remember this at all. What happened to the grenade?
Yeah, was it a dud? I hope it didn't kill like a family of 4.
Mr. Bush and Georgia President Mikhail Saakashvili had been behind a bulletproof barrier addressing a rally of thousands, and the grenade landed about 100 feet away. It did not explode. The investigators later said it had a malfunction, so that's good.
Wow. Jeez. Look, it was a live grenade. The guy didn't know it wasn't going to... Oh, my...
But it was a dud.
That's insane.
That's crazy. Okay.
Can you imagine being at a rally and seeing a grenade drop down next to you?
Jesus. Yeah. Like, oh, my God. Yeah, fuck. Apparently, it says the guy was charged... He killed a police officer in a shootout during his arrest. So he did murder somebody.
Did?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Went to jail for that, obviously.
I hope it was a crooked cop.
Okay. Brian for $50. Thank you so much, Brian, for the $50. Says, we're a couple of crazies during the Obama admin. One guy got into the White House. I guess that's the person we're talking about. And another guy shot the White House while Obama wasn't there. Oh, that's right. Remember, there was like a drive-by shooting. I do remember that.
Right.
There wasn't there with the Secret Service not even noticing. Long-standing tradition of Secret Service incompetence. They didn't notice.
Sad.
I don't remember that part about it.
I gotta update because I think I've said this before and you've corrected me.
Yes,
you always say the
guy who made it into the White House. Yeah.
You always say, and funny enough, I heard Jank say this the other day that Al Gore won the 2000 election when that's not true.
Yeah, we looked into the recount thing.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was I thought this was my recollection when we looked into it, but I could be wrong. If he had got the recount he wanted, he still would have lost. But if they had done a recount of the whole state, which is ironically what the Republicans said he would have had to done for it to be constitutional, then he would have won.
No, that's unclear. That's completely
unclear. Okay, so we don't. So it's still up in the air.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no definitive.
Gotcha.
They did like a survey of just a couple areas. So.
On November 11th, 2011, Oscar Ramiro Ortega Hernandez, an unemployed 21-year-old man, fired multiple shots at the White House using a semi-automatic rifle. At least 7 bullets hit the second floor. Neither Barack Obama nor First Lady Michelle were home at the time. The president was not in Washington, D.C. However, the couple's youngest daughter and First Lady's mother were in the White House, but no one was injured. It took 4 days for the Secret Service to realize the bullets had struck the White House. Oh my God. You're right, Brian. The talk about the history of Secret Service incompetence, people were all like, there's no fucking way the Secret Service could be so incompetent to let this child, this Crooks kid, shoot at Donald Trump. And yet we had in 2011, someone literally shot at the White House and no one realized it for 4 fucking days. That's how is that retarded?
Who caught it? The painters?
That's a good question. Let's see if they say. Let's see. A woman in a taxi nearby witnessed a shooting and wrote on Twitter in 2011. Jeez. I didn't know Twitter was around then. Driver in front of my cab stopped and fired 5 shots at the White House. It took the police a while to respond. How'd they miss it if they literally knew someone shot at the White House?
She posted on Twitter. She's supposed to call it in.
That's a good point. There you go. Secret Service agents initially rushed to respond. Snipers scanned the south lawn looking for assailant. A supervisor decided the noises. Oh my God. Secret Service supervisor, decided the noises were backfires from a nearby construction site and told agents no shots had been fired. Stand down. What the fuck? That's retarded. According to Carol D. Leoning, an investigative journalist, agents who thought the building had been fired upon were largely ignored. One reporting she had been afraid to doubt her supervisor's assertion. By the end of the night, it was confirmed that shooting had occurred, although the Secret Service believed the gunfire was not aimed at the White House, but was rather the result of a gang fight nearby.
That's hilarious.
A Secret Service. This story is just
White House
like a roller
got caught
coaster.
in the crossfire.
I know. I remember all that. Now I'm reading this.
Drive by gone wrong in front of the White House.
Yeah, just a random gang dispute. A Secret Service dispatcher called emergency services and gave an incorrect description of both vehicles and suspects. Police were told to look for 2 black men. Of course, the unidentified black man. It took 4 days for the Secret Service to realize the bullets had struck the White House. Oh my God, Adam, you were correct. Almost. The evidence was only noticed when a housekeeper discovered broken glass and pieces of cement on the Truman balcony 4 days later.
I knew it. I knew it. It's one of the staff.
Oh my God, what the fuck? How this Secret Service is massively incompetent.
That is crazy because that means they hit a fucking window.
They did.
Someone could have been in the room.
They did, yeah. That's crazy. Oh my God. 3 years later, in September of 2014, Carol D. Lenning from the Washington Post released a report describing the details of Secret Service's bungled responses following the shooting. The Secret Service responded to the criticism, stating that the shots were fired from a quarter-mile away, resulting in echoes obfuscating their origin. Okay. Whatever. That's a cope. That's a massive cope.
You did great with obfuscating, though.
Thank you. I've been practicing. Every day I practice, so. And I'm just reading it. They chose that word, not me. Okay.
I know. Yeah, no, it was amazing.
A former agent said the Secret Service needs to change its ways in order to prevent complacency and stop future attacks. This was in 2014, so we're 10 years down the road, and apparently
they're still smoking weed on the job.
Still smoking weed on the job, yeah. Interesting. Well, that's why I always, that's why they have that, that saying, don't assume malice when you can assume incompetence. So interesting. Well, thank you for bringing that up, Brian. Totally forgot about that. That darn kiddeth for 18 months says this counts as a super chat stream. 2 more hours now. Okay, thanks. Bye. Wow. There you go. Thank you, kidda. Trying to get us keep going here.
We're gonna do it.
It's funny. We said we're gonna talk about Kamala's policies, but I guess we're gonna do that tomorrow because
we'll do it
spent
tomorrow.
like 30 minutes arguing about Bitcoin.
I want to go. Well, look, that's a fun argument anyway.
It was, yeah.
Weigh in the comments. Let us know what you thought of that, and also, everyone wants us to go see the racist movie, the Matt Walsh movie.
Yes,
so
I do want to see that.
Yeah,
I don't know when I'll be able to see it, but definitely.
I know.
Definitely like this weekend I'll be able to see it. I don't know if I'll be able to see it before Friday, but
I'm in the same boat.
Right.
Just got a lot. Obviously, I'm going back and forth on the proofing of the comic. So
when
you send it off, they they give you a proof back, but there's like little errors that need to be corrected. Like the speech bubble is too close to the center binding, so it's going to be hard to read, that kind of thing. So
Right.
I'm working on that stuff now.
That's right. If you want a comic, make sure you order it now. Make sure you order it now if you want a comic. This isn't one of those things that once it's out, we'll be able to just print it indefinitely. There's going to be like a specific number that are printed, and then you are SOL.
Well, you'd be SOL for the first printing, which the first printing is usually more valuable than the second printing. But like we might, like if it blew up, if we did a second book and like it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, we'll obviously have to reprint the first volume. But usually
Adam,
what we'll do,
you're not selling this right.
No, look.
This is a limited quality. You'll never get another chance in your entire life, no matter what, if you do not buy this first printing.
I was just getting to that part. When we do a second printing, like we'll do a completely different cover. So this is a unique item that you will not be able to get anymore. Like
on the second printing, there's going to be a giant middle finger on the drawn on the front of the art on every page. Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So, here's your once in a lifetime opportunity to be a part of history. How am I doing, Sitch? Is this better?
Thank you. Yes.
To be part of this historical movement. Okay.
We're
not talking about Trump crypto here. We're talking about the Supervillains Anonymous comic book.
In order to commemorate the selling of this historic moment of Supervillains Anonymous comic book going live, me and Adam are announcing the release of the Supervillains Anonymous coin. That's right. This is a cryptocurrency. Okay.
Well, look, we did talk about doing the book too in novel format too. So
yes. Zero Kala for 22 months says, woohoo, the books are ordered. A-Team reigns supreme. Look, there you go.
That's exactly right.
Mitch for 2 Aussie Butts says, thoughts on Kill la Kill. We talked about Kill la Kill a lot. I love Kill la Kill. I think Adam's a big fan of Kill la Kill. It's great.
I am, but it bothers me that it's in high school. I think it should be in college. So
right.
Obviously.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, when they're drawing like the anime characters, I mean, it's not like they look like.
Oh, they definitely look. These are college girls.
Yeah, if you just like
college girls
redubbed it and said this was college, I mean, they wouldn't. They look like they're of that age, right? It's not like they look like.
Yeah, there'd be no problem. There's no short stack goblins going on in Kill la Kill. Yeah,
right. But that's a common trope in anime anyway. They draw these like teenage girls to look like they're in their like mid-20s or something. But no, Kill la Kill is fantastic. It's got a lot of hot, sexy action running around there, but it's got super funny and has a great story. So
yeah, and like a twist ending, a Fight Club style ending where you're like, oh my God.
Right.
It all makes perfect sense.
Right. Yeah, no, it's great. I love Kill la Kill. Definitely top tier anime. Yeah. Massively would recommend it unless you're one of those people that goes, ew, women that look attractive in hot outfits. This bothers me. If that bothers you, you're not going to like it. If that doesn't bother you, and it's a selling point, then you're going to love it.
Yes.
Recovery Mode for $20 says, I think I'd prefer Trump in the White House over Kamala or Harris, but I'd also believe that if Republicans are ever to escape the cult of Trump idolatry and regain some semblance of sanity, then Trump must lose in November. Interesting. I guess that puts you in sort of a difficult position. I think, whether Trump wins or loses,
he goes away. Yeah.
If Trump wins, he'll be around for 4 years, but then after that, I would imagine the Republicans are going to have to move out of the cult of Trump at that point. I don't think anyone is going to be able to pick up the torch of Trump idolatry when Trump is gone, whether he wins or loses in this next election. So,
yeah, I don't like the Trump idolatry framing. Obviously, there are plenty of people who treat politics like a cult. I think there's just as many people doing that with Kamala, obviously, and she's completely new on the scene. So it's really the politics driving that. Well, no, I guess Trump also has fans of Trump that are probably not really kind of apolitical, but idolatry is like a little annoying.
I agree with the Trump idolatry framing. And it's on a level that I've never seen in my lifetime. I don't see it with Harris. I didn't see it with Obama. I hadn't seen it with really anyone.
Really?
And
I
even with
mean,
Obama, and Obama was like second Jesus, but then when he was in office, a lot of Democrats like turned on him. So
there is Trump idolatry. I don't like the framing because it makes the assumption that anyone who votes for Trump or likes Trump is like worshiping him.
gotcha. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Right.
So it's
Sure.
just mixed messages. I completely disagree actually with the super chat because I think like he's more likely to go away if he wins than if he loses. But
But if well, I don't know, because if he loses, I guess the thought process is if he loses, are people gonna be like, wow, this guy can't win elections, or will they just forever retreat to the it was stolen framing, and that would be that.
the B,
Okay.
second one.
I mean, Trump. Well, okay. Let's say
It's going to be more
hypothetically,
institutional decay.
if hypothetically, if Trump loses in this election, do you think that he's going to run again in 4 years?
No, of course he's not. But he's going to go to his grave shit talking America and elections.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 78, so he'd be 82 4 years from now.
He could look, people live to be 90. Dudes, and he's never drank a drop of alcohol in his life. The dude's going to live to be 100. We're going to be stuck with this guy forever, Sitch.
I mean, he hasn't drank a drop of alcohol, but he eats like dog shit and never exercises. So it's kind of shocking he's able to be as healthy as he is currently.
That's the other documentary that was bullshit, the Super Size Me documentary.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, you've fallen for the Super Size Me documentary. You can eat like shit and still live to be 100. Okay?
No. The problem with Supersize documentary, first of all, if you eat that shit every day, it's super bad for you. The problem is there's two problems with Supersize documentary. Number one, he was going from a very healthy diet to an incredibly unhealthy diet on a drop of a dime. He just turned around. That's gonna have a super bad impact on your body. Number one. Then number two is that I think it was because he had to supersize it, and there were wasn't there healthier options, but he was choosing what was he choosing non-health, like the least healthy options to choose?
Okay. Number
Or is there
one
something
is
more to it?
what is his name? Sparlock, or I can't remember the filmmaker's name. Okay. That you can call that number 2 and number 3. Number
Spurlock.
1, Spurlock, yeah. Number 1 is the dude was a lifelong alcoholic and was in terrible health from the get-go. That's number 1. Yes.
Are you sure? I thought he was eating like super healthy beforehand.
No.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That's why the film is commonly thought of as a total scam.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I'm totally misremembering them. Let's see.
Yeah, you go ahead, look into it.
The Wall Street Journal is Supersize Me a big fat lie. The Wall Street Journal notes the recent statements by Spurlock, who in December publicly confessed to sexual harassment, which I don't have to do with anything, indicated that he was not honest during the film about his alcohol use. Oh, you're right, which could have affected his medical test. Quote, or the italics is, before the 30-day experiment, he said he was in a good spot health-wise. By the experiment's end, he reported experiencing fatigues and shakes. Trembling, not the shamrock shake. Most disturbing and most widely reported was that he suffered liver damage. The New York Times review was headlined, "You want liver failure with that?" The doctor examining him during the experiment said the fast food was pickling his liver, and it looked like it was an alcoholic's after a binge. Fast forward to December 2017, when Mr. Spurlock issued a hashtag MeToo Mea Culpa titled "I Am Part of the Problem," detailing a lifetime of sexual misdeeds. What the fuck? As a result, YouTube dropped its plans to screen his Super Size Me sequel, and other broadcasters cut ties. But overlooked all this was a stunning admission that calls into question the veracity of the original Super Size Me. After blaming his parents for his bad acts, Mr. Spurlock asked, quote, "Is it because I'm consistently been drinking since the age of 13? I haven't been sober for more than a week in 30 years. Could this be why his liver looked like that of an alcoholic? Were those shakes symptoms of alcoholic withdrawal?" Mr. Spurlock's 2017 confession contradicts what he said in his 2004 documentary. When asked any alcohol use, and he said, "Now, none," he replies. In explaining his experiment, he says, "I can only eat things that are for sale over the counter at McDonald's, water included." Well, that might not be a lie. He might have not been on alcohol for the 30 days, but that would obviously have a massive impact on his health and his liver and everything after that. So yeah, that wouldn't
Yeah.
be. So yeah, you're completely correct. Supersize Me is a total scam because you wouldn't. He's not like a good test subject since he's so unhealthy to begin with. Okay,
Look,
there you go.
and Trump could live to be 100, right? Who knows? That fast food.
Well, okay, wait. Just
might
because
be
this
just
guy.
fine.
Wait, hold on. Stop it. Wait, I can hear somewhere in Florida, Sammy G like losing her mind about this take. Okay, just because
You're right. You're right. Sammy, forgive us.
Right. Just because the Super Size Me guy like is a bad test subject because he was an alcoholic, obviously just chowing down and eating them like most unhealthy garbage, fast food shit is not, a good thing. You're not going to be healthy like that. So
Well, it's give and take, right? Trump has not been an alcoholic since he was 13 years old. So,
right. But the thing, so much of what is like the reality of health is you can just have really strong genes that are very resilient to damage, and you could eat, garbage for 80 years and live. So if you just have like really strong, genes, so which obviously Trump does have, unless he's doing something behind the scenes that we don't know about health wise. Okay.
right.
M8566 for 2 hours says, so who sold more covers, A-Team or S-Class? Oh, that's right.
I brought it up.
Who sold more?
See, I admit I hedged on this because I was like, okay, if I make the S-Class cover like 10 times better, then it seems obvious it's based on the artwork and not based on who people like more. Geez, so superficial, right?
Right.
So we've got just one S-Class book these people have bought. They're like S-Class to the core. They're like, I'm just going to get one book and it's the S-Class cover. 105.
Mm-hmm.
These are A-Team people to the core. Obviously, we all know A-Team is the underdog. That S-Class is the oppressor class. 77 books claimed.
Wow.
Just people who bought
victory, baby.
One book, right?
Yeah.
This one right here, the all nude S-Class cover, right?
Ooh. Yeah.
Look, you sold 105 S-Class covers.
Mm-hmm.
All nude, 143.
There it is. That should count to the S-Class. Those double, right? You just combine those.
Look,
both
they're not buying for S-Class. They're
of
buying
course
for
they're
the
buying
boobies.
for S-Class.
No,
you think
they're
we have a
buying
bunch
for
of
the
people that
boobies.
care about boobies? No, they care about S-Class support. All right.
Look, I don't think any human being has seen the uncensored S-Class cover
That's not
except
true.
for me and the printer.
2 human beings have seen it. 3 human beings have seen it. I've seen it.
You've seen it?
You showed it to me, yeah.
No, you haven't seen it.
Okay.
Get out of here.
Okay.
Have you really? Did I show it to you?
You 100% showed it to me, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
Okay. So, and then we have the Unity ticket here, buying it. We'll skip over the Unity ticket. Oh, I think that's it. No, we have the book, buying a book and the S-Class so you're cutting out A-Team, 23 claimed, and buying a book and the A-Team, 24 claimed. So I beat you on the book and the A-Team cover. Look at that. I beat you by 1.
I'm ignoring you.
Why?
I don't know. I actually was reading something. I don't know what you just said.
Okay.
But okay. I'm going to say
that's
S-Class
it.
1. Lucio for 2 hours says LA show fan movie meetup ?
LA show fan movie.
You want to go meet up with your LA fans to watch Am I Racist together, Adam?
Not particularly.
Okay, I guess not, Lou. Sorry.
Well, look, I'm skittish about fan meetups and stuff.
Adam is very shy in person.
I'm like, maybe I'm gonna get jumped or something.
There you go.
It's Los Angeles.
That's true.
I have to have how do I get around this? Look, you know that I genuinely like people and that I'm genuinely a people person, I probably would meet up with fans and just love it. So how do I vet this?
Right.
How do I, it's an interesting dilemma.
Higher security. Mike Cole for 27 months says, hey, my great grandpa is 103 and eats nothing but bread and coffee. Well, there you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. He's got good genes, baby.
That's all carbs though.
That's what I'm saying. Some people just have the genes that just keep on going. It doesn't matter what they do. So Toxic Mix, thanks so much for $20. Says, I hate to break it to you, but win or lose, MAGA isn't going anywhere. Most of us will never vote for Nikki Haley or other Bush Cheney analogs again. The GOP can hang on to the corporatists and warhawks, or they can win. We shall see. We shall see. I think you're going to see, essentially going forward, a lot of DeSantis-esque candidates who are kind of this hybrid between standard conservatives and, anti-woke, trying to appeal to MAGA crowd people. I think that's the future of the Republican Party going forward. So we shall see. I am very skeptical. I think most Republican voters will fall in line or most MAGA voters will fall in line. There is a contingency of Trump supporters that are not Republicans, and they won't. I don't know what will happen to them, but I think the majority of Trump's support is from people that have been voting Republican for most of their life. If you look at the numbers.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I really don't get the hatred of Nikki Haley. So.
Because right now the movement is like populist isolationist. And it's interesting because right now the populist isolationist sort of view of the Republican Party is very against what the Republican Party used to be, 10, 15 short years ago, which was the Bush neocon neoliberal party. And Nikki Haley is viewed as like the continuation of what the Republican Party used to be. So that's where the hatred comes from.
She comes up in that book a lot. I know you're probably reading.
The McMaster book?
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. Recovery mode for $10 says, despite losing to a corpse, refusing to commit to a peaceful transfer, contributing to January 6th, getting indicted, and refusing to debate, he still crushed the GOP nomination. Republicans are a cult of Trump. There you go.
Yeah, I just the only reason that I completely agree with you that there are a lot of people who are just cult-like devotees to Donald Trump. I just don't think maybe it's 60%. I don't think it's all of them. Yeah.
Right. The interesting thing is that usually we see kind of a cult devotee to like a party, not a specific candidate in the party. So I guess that's where kind of like the substantial differences here. Like, I think it's stronger, and then it's also just interesting because it's not to the party, it's to like a specific person. So even when they turn against the party, or if they turn against the party, I should say. Anyways.
All right, look at this. This was a fabulous show. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you, Sitch. I guess we're going to do this again tomorrow.
Yep. Anyways, thank you guys for your incredibly generous super chats. We'll see you all tomorrow.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.